Derivative Jill.
There she is. There she is.
Greetings and felicitations.
Hello and welcome to Indefinite Lunch in Infinite Combinations number 134. There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone. And so we're going to continue. I finally decided that during our rewatch of the Twilight Zone, we're going to go in broadcast order. So I finally made my choice. So our first story today is Mr. Denton on Doomsday. And we have here we have a Western where fate lends a hand. And here on YouTube, we like to discuss movies and shows to escape. But in the second story, the 16mm Shrine, this idea becomes a little more literal. So it's our second live stream of the year, and we're continuing our foray into the Twilight Zone. And so I'd like to say hello to the chat before we get started with the episodes. And of course, I have to bring up my slides. And I'd like to say hello to Ron. It's good to see you here today, as well as Gavin Blackburn, who says, "Hello, where is everybody?"
Hey, that rings a bell.
And hello to Watcher X. I have to thank you very much for deciding to become a member of the channel. That is wonderfully exciting, and good to know you'll be around. There is a membership stream tomorrow if you'd like to hang out and talk.
The monsters are due on Jill Street. Now wait a minute.
Oh, look at this. This is such a lovely gift. Thank you so much, Six, for giving me this this present here of this Bushibu with the cute little heart, and that's really lovely. Thank you so much.
I was flirting with Six yesterday in the chat on Midnight's Edge in the morning, which I usually do when she's in the chat. I start flirting with her. Well, she's an awesome mod for sure.
She is. She's really great. Good to say hi to.
Yeah,
very welcoming.
Behind the scenes producer. She keeps that chat in line really well on Midnight's Edge in the morning.
I mean, I just got to update something on Twitter. There you go. I fixed it. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna close that so I don't look at it again. Because we're supposed to be in the Twilight Zone. So let me bring up my slides.
How dry I am. Nobody knows how dry I am. Not as good as Dan Duryea, of course, who gives an impeccable performance. Absolutely stellar. And Mr. Denton on Doomsday. Are you familiar with Dan Duryea at all?
Not at all, but I enjoyed this performance.
Yeah,
so much.
He's a great character actor. He first time I encountered him, well, chronologically, I guess, as far as his career, was in a classic Western from 1950 called Winchester 73, which stars Jimmy Stewart. And it's the first Jimmy Stewart Western directed by Anthony Mann. And Stewart did 5 Westerns with director Anthony Mann. And Dan Duryea plays a real slimeball villain in the movie. He's not the main villain, but he's on screen.
Such a good guy.
A fair amount, and Stewart gets the upper hand on him real quick in a bar scene. But it's a classic. Duryea is excellent, and then Duryea was in a lot of film noirs in the 40s, and one that I just got recently was No Time for Tears, where he co-stars with Elizabeth Scott. Elizabeth Scott is the real slime ball in that movie.
Oh, a female lead
Yeah, she's
villain. That's fun. That's
yeah,
always really good.
she's corrupted by, but she's greed just takes over her character, but Durier's kind of he's a he's a bad guy, but he comes out looking better than Elizabeth Scott in that movie for sure.
Oh, and that's relevant today because this first Twilight Zone episode is in Western style, and it's
Yeah,
a commentary on Westerns in general. But I do want to finish saying hello to the chat. Ron says
yes, indeed.
England. Hey, that's great. That's really good. And Suzanne,
Hello to
good
Watcher
morning.
X,
Yes, Watcher X. Thanks for
and
coming
hail
over.
to our cousins across the pond in the
Su-
United Kingdom,
Mm.
and
Oh,
the great
Suzanne.
Suzanne. Hello,
Yeah,
Suzanne. Good morning.
Suzanne's here. And there you go. It's really cold in
Lanchester.
Lanchester. See, I feel like I've heard of Lanchester, but then when
Well,
I
it's
see it spelled, my brain short circuits.
like no, that's not no, that's not how you pronounce that. I mispronounced it. My brain
Okay.
saw the word and then the words came out wrong. But yeah, it's let's see how cold is it here in eastern Iowa? It's pretty cold, I know.
There's a shire in there. There's a shire in
Ooh, a
that word.
shire.
Okay, so
Let
let me see.
Leicestershire.
Yeah, Leicestershire.
Leicestershire, yeah,
Okay,
something
I'm
like
gonna
that. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Gorilla's
only
random thoughts.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go right
Says
ahead.
Kapla. Got even more good news today. I don't know how much good news I can handle. Feels weird. Oh, that's
Oh,
great.
that's great that you got good news, more than you can handle.
Yeah, embrace the goodness that
Yes.
comes into your life and be grateful that it has arrived. And
It's definitely terrific
let's
Tuesday
share my screen.
for Gorilla's censored thoughts, formerly known as random thoughts.
Right, they used to be random, but then Google started censoring, and so now he's censored. Let's see. Let's put that banner up. And so with the let's see. Mr. Denton on Doomsday first aired on October 16th, 1959. It was directed by Alan Reisner and written, of course, by Rod Serling. With for the intro, it's a little bit different. We have an eyeball that's fading into the sun, which I don't remember this intro. Only, and I guess that's because only 5 episodes in this first season have this.
Yeah, that threw me off when I was watching this again in syndication. It's a unique opening only from the first season, but like you said, it was only on 5 episodes.
Yeah, we start in a small old west style town. Obviously, these western cowboy shows like this were very popular when this episode was made, and there we go. And we're gonna have Al Denton stumbling out of a bar, which they call the saloon, and his actor is played by Dan Duryea, who was paid $5,000 for this role, which equals 54,000 today. And then after he stumbles out of the bar, Dan, played by Martin Landau, also emerges. He's the town bully, and so of course he's got his entourage of people who support him and think he's entertaining to watch. I guess be mean to other people.
Yep. And there he goes with the how dry I am.
Yes. And Martin Landau might actually be the only actor in all of this episode that I actually recognize, because when I was a kid, I saw the Pinocchio movie where he was Geppetto alongside Jonathan Taylor Thomas's Pinocchio. And I don't even remember if it was any good. I just know that I've only ever rewatched the animation since then, so maybe not. I don't remember.
You didn't recognize the bartender?
No, who's the bartender? Oh.
He's
Charlie?
He's
Oh no, is that Star Trek?
that's Ken Lynch. He's from your favorite Star Trek episode, Chief Vandenberg.
Oh really? Really? Devil in the Dark? I
Yeah,
didn't
isn't
catch.
that
I
the
did.
same actor?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll
And what you might want to double check. I might be mistaken.
It looks like him. You know what? Why didn't I see that? I don't have.
Yeah, he pops up in a lot of things. He's this is from 1959, and he was also in North by Northwest. He
Yeah.
played one of the policemen that nabs Cary Grant's Roger Thornhill character out of the auction during the auction scene. Yeah, do you have a
Okay.
picture of the bartender?
I do have a picture of the bartender, but it's
And there's
Oh,
Kitty.
there he is.
Oh, there he is, Ken Lynch, Chief Vandenberg.
You know, for some reason, I just
Yeah,
totally missed it.
once I saw him in Star Trek, I just could not unsee this guy. I said, hey, that's the guy in the Horta episode.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But once you said it, I
Charlie.
knew it. Yeah, I
No,
understood what you meant.
Yeah, he plays
But that's
cops in a lot of movies, and he's just he's really good here as well. He's
yeah.
always good.
Oh, it's
But
good to
my
see
favorite,
him.
yeah, my favorite role of his, of course, is Chief Vandenberg.
Yeah, that's my favorite also.
Yeah.
I don't know any of the other ones.
We didn't call you down here to collect rocks. Only he can say a line as convincingly as that.
But can I say it's my favorite role when it's the only role I know him for?
Oh,
I
certainly.
guess maybe this is the second one. I know him for
Yeah.
2 roles now.
Yeah,
But
certainly you can.
But I had Martin Landau continued to act for a long time, so he was also in The Outer Limits, the 1980s Twilight Zone, and The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Space 1999. Even though I still need to see it, but I have to mention it because he's in 48 of the episodes, so he must be
Well,
important in that.
he was more famously he was in the first 3 seasons of Mission Impossible. He played oh gosh, I'm trying to think of his first name, but it's Mr. Hand.
Okay.
What's his first name?
I saw a lot of stuff in his IMDb. I'm not listening to him all
Roland,
day.
yeah, Roland Hand.
Thinking of you.
The man of 1,000 faces. He was the disguise expert.
Oh, didn't Leonard Nimoy do that eventually?
He took over the role for of that position in the IMF team. He played the Great Paris, magician, but also a master of disguise. But yeah, you are correct. Leonard Nimoy took over for Martin Landau, and that's all because of Paramount being stupid and not wanting to deal with Martin Landau and his rather unique business arrangement with Desilu, which they bought out. Martin Landau kind of negotiated year to year with Herb Solo on appearing on the Mission Impossible series, and Paramount just said no. It's not the actor; it's the role that the public is fascinated by. In other words, it doesn't matter who plays it. And of course, Barbara Bain, who was on Mission Impossible with her husband Martin Landau, once they gave him the heave ho, she just said, "Well, I'm out of here." She's stood by her husband.
Yeah, that makes sense to support your man.
And that's why they both disappeared after the 3rd year.
Yeah, but Paramount being stupid? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable, right?
I can't believe it.
Yeah. But yeah, Martin Landau, he's just fantastic. Everyone was fantastic on that show.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of movies I've never seen.
Oh, yeah.
But among those movies I've never seen, the one that people pester me the most to see is Ed Wood.
Oh,
and in
yeah.
that movie,
yeah.
He plays Bela Lugosi.
Very well, too. That's a fascinating movie, if you know anything about Ed Wood. But have you seen Plan 9 from Outer Space?
I have. It's delightful.
Oh,
Well, because when I was a kid, I listened to the Misfits, the punk rock and roll band, and they loved horror movies.
Yep.
And I saw Plan 9, and that's how I got connected to that.
Yeah, that's really all you need to know about Ed Wood is that, and also he liked to dress in women's clothing.
Yeah, that's fun.
And he really was fascinated by Angora sweaters. And then that's all you need. You go in, watch Ed Wood, and
Then I'm ready. I'm ready to see it,
yeah,
and everybody wants me to, so I should.
yeah. And then Martin Landau, he was in, like I said, well, in addition to Ken Lynch, Martin Landau was also in North by Northwest. He played Leonard, the cohort of the main villain in that movie, played by James Mason.
Very good. And Gavin Blackburn is assisting us in our pronunciation.
Leicestershire. Okay, I did kind of get it right.
Leicestershire.
Sort of, kind of. Leicestershire.
Watcher X as the first song I learned on harmonica was "How Dry I Am," and if you know how to play the music and sing it yourself, it is in the public domain, so you could perform the whole thing as the notes are written.
There you go.
So then Elizabeth Smith, played by Jeanne Cooper, is asking the bartender Charlie, played by Ken Lynch, who now we remember was in Star Trek, to break up the bullying of Denton. She's basically the audience analog here, and I wish they would have continued this theme and did a little more with her in this episode, because it's definitely difficult to watch him beg for alcohol like that in this
Yeah, yeah, it's tough because I'm going, boy, Dan Duryea, because I hadn't seen him in too many things except for Winchester 73 when I saw this episode in syndication in the mid 70s, and I was like, boy, he's really down and out in this one. He's very convincing that he's on his his last legs, basically.
Yeah, nothing says it more than when they smash that bottle and he starts
Yeah.
guzzling it so
Yeah.
greedily, and he wasn't worried about the glass.
Yeah. Yeah, the director really came through on this one.
Yeah.
As well as
Yeah.
the performances all around.
And I guess that was really the point of Liz. She it seemed like she wanted to talk to him, but then she thought, no, wait, he's not in any state to communicate with right now. And hey, we're actually at the opening narration, so I think I would like for you to read it, but I had to put it in the private chat first.
Alrighty.
Because that's something I want to do on these reviews, is read the opening and the closing narrations. If I can fit it all in here. Yes, I can. So that's the first half. Here's the second half.
Alrighty. Portrait of a town drunk named Al Denton. This is a man who's begun his dying early, a long, agonizing route through a maze of bottles. Al Denton, who would probably give an arm or a leg or a part of his soul to have another chance, to be able to rise up and shake the dirt from his body and the bad dreams that infest his consciousness. In the parlance of the times, this is a peddler, a rather fanciful-looking little man in a black frock coat. And this is the third principal character of our story. Its function, perhaps to give Mr. Al Denton his second chance. And a third principle was the Colt 45 that appears next to Denton. Magically appears.
Yes. Well, he's a magic. Fate is a magic entity. Yeah. Not
Mr. Fate, not too subtle there from Rod, but that's okay.
Right. No,
this is a fantasy.
This is a fantasy, and I love that he's like the embodiment of fate.
Yeah.
He's not exactly. They put these kind of supernatural, spiritual things inside a human, I don't know if you want to say facade or cover.
Human form, yeah. Mm-hmm.
A human form, yeah. This is the human form of fate, who can actually interact with the world.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that is the fantasy of it. And yes, then the gun does magically form right there.
Yeah.
But that's Fate's. I guess
Yeah.
they both appeared at the same
And of
time.
course, his second chance, which is a great the theme of redemption.
Yes, and now that he's slept it off a bit, he sees first he tries to see if there's anything left in that bottle, but there wasn't. So, but then he finds the gun, and now that he's slept it off a bit, Miss Smith, Elizabeth Smith, gives him some attention as he continues to examine the gun. She says, "You're pretty good with the gun. You were pretty good with the gun in your day." So they already they give some backstory. He says that was a long time ago, and he can't remember the last time he had one. And
Yeah, we learned why he went into a downward spiral
yes,
because of killing a 16-year-old
yes,
boy.
that is his whole backstory. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. He's got a tragic cycle, and it seems like the cycle's starting up again in this episode.
Yeah.
And I want to say hello to Greek Letters Larson, who who is inspired by Gorilla's random thoughts here. Keep it down over there. We're trying to sleep over here.
Yeah. You kids turn that music down. And while you're at it, get off my lawn.
Yes. And Rio's here. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
And then okay, so he finds this gun, and eventually we're going to see Dan and the bullies ask him to sing the song again. Why do you have to drink so much? Which is always the question. He doesn't seem to know. He just fell into the habit. But we do, like we already mentioned, we find out later it was because of a tragedy where he was in a cycle of just killing, you know, people because he was it's a wild west. So when you get into a duel, it's usually fate. It's very typically fatal, and I think that's a very interesting part of this episode. Also, is that fate isn't having these people kill each other.
Yeah. It's
And
working against the well, it's altering the Western genre.
yeah, and I really like it.
Yeah. And yeah, it's that was the starting point for Rod was let's see if I can find that passage here
Oh, please do if we
in
have a passage. And
in-
Miss Smith is there to support him while you're
mhm.
finding that passage.
Yeah.
And she even offers to buy him a drink, but he still sings anyway. He's still stuck in that role of allowing himself to be humiliated.
Yeah, I've got this book I have is The Twilight Zone: Unlocking the Door to a Television Classic by Martin Grams Jr. And Rod says, I got this idea watching a collection of westerns over a period of a couple of weeks, Serling recalled. In many ways, it's almost a spoof of the classic high noon, walk down the middle of the street gun battle. Another origin for this episode dates back to October 12th, 1958, when Serling wrote to William Dozier, head of CBS programming on the West Coast, with plot proposals that would, quote, represent the kind of variety I'd like to get on the series. Among the proposals was, you too can be a fast gun, a 4-paragraph plot synopsis Serling sent for Dozier's approval. This was the same plot which Serling mentioned in passing during the 10-minute promotional sales film that was attached to the Where Is Everybody pilot, which Serling referred to as Death, Destry, and Mr. Dingle. He liked the crazy names, Mr.
Yeah,
Dingle.
I like crazy news.
And of course, we get Mr.
I'm
Dingle the
down with it.
Strong later on as an episode.
Very good, very good. And all right, that's a good
But his
good paragraph about that.
yeah, his original idea was actually to have a school teacher in the late 1880s kind of fancy himself as a fast gun, and he ends up shooting a rattlesnake at you know, couple hundred yards or something ridiculous like that, and it spreads across the town, and of course that brings trouble.
Of course that
But
would.
I
Okay, so that was
like his
somebody who was
reworking in this episode much better.
in that instance, it would have been someone who was just like new at
Yeah,
gunslinging, and in this case, this is someone who has a history with it. And I agree, I like it better when he's been there.
yeah. I'm so glad he rethought this whole thing out.
Yes, and the bully comes back, Dan huddling. We find out his and he asks Denton about the new gun he's got and offers him a duel. And I guess he's just like I guess he's very confident that he's going to win because he decides to offer to duel left-handedly. But before anybody even they don't ever do that thing where they count backwards and they start walking around and everything. The shooting just happens.
Yep.
And so Denton shoots Dan in the hand. It's as though he's not really even in control of what he's actually doing, as if the gun is working his hands rather than the other way around. And James Caserta says, Jill, is Scotty free? Scotty R37, yes, is otherwise busy today and also for the membership stream tomorrow. It is his birthday, so he's got stuff to do. I mean, it's his birthday week. His birthday is on
week.
Friday. And actually,
Yeah.
the weird thing is he's doing all the stuff on the other days of the week, but he'll actually be here on my channel on Friday on his actual birthday.
Are you going to cover The Last Starfighter?
We were going to. That
Oh
was the
no,
plan.
that
But
was the plan, but
he changed his mind and it's his birthday, so I let him. And so he he changed it to a discussion on WKRP, just the entire series, series discussion. But I told him he has to keep it to the first 3 seasons because I have not seen the last season yet. I'm watching it for the first time myself. James Caserta says Serling had an open submission policy for a little bit, but all the scripts were, as he called, therapeutic garbage. What is that? Really?
yeah, his former agent actually sent in a script idea, which I can comment on when we discuss the second episode, because it's in relation to that.
Oh, okay. Okay, hold off on that one then.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Letters Larson says, what is again the episode's name? Mr. Denton on Doomsday. But
The good, the bad, and the extraterrestrial.
that would be
No,
good.
it's Mr. Fate isn't from outer space. He's just from another dimension.
Guns don't solve problems, or do they? Here the gun solves the problem.
Well,
That
the gun was the tool. It was actually Mr. Fate that was controlling things.
True.
So that
True.
hit,
The gun is just an object. It's
yeah.
people and circumstances that
It
make
it was
things happen.
it was a bit of a manipulation by Fate to get Denton on his road to redemption.
Mhm. Yes. Greek letters Larson says physical violence overcomes intelligence. What? No, actually, wait.
Yeah, that's oversimplifying things.
Greek letters Larson, have you seen this episode? Because that's not exactly what happens.
Yeah.
As you will see. Dokon is here, and I'd like to welcome people on Rumble. There is a chat from Rumble, and here's one of them. Hate to burst your bubbles, kids. Those old westerns and most of what was coming out of Hollywood was designed to promote gun control.
That's rather problematic in some instances, but yeah.
Well, I wasn't around when these westerns were super popular.
Wanted Dead or Alive and The Rifleman beg to differ, but anyway.
Well,
people
can have their opinion.
Yeah, but I mean that is a legit observation for some things, definitely. Uh,
Yes. Yeah, it is
but
true
but
that
I'll,
over
yeah,
glorification of
yeah,
violence can have the opposite effect
yeah.
of making
What
people think, hey, maybe people shouldn't have those
yeah,
boomsticks.
what you had on screen there, we call in journalism a sweeping generality, and but
Well,
he
but
does
yeah.
he does have a point though that there were some that were concerned about that, and it crept into uh, many a television western. Uh, but uh, for this episode, it's just the gun is a tool to manipulate Denton, like I said, to get on his road to redemption, courtesy of Mr. Fate.
Yes, and because of this new gun that he's got, people are offering him free drinks.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And Dan Hodling is just not very happy that he lost. So we're gonna see that he tries to go after Denton again. So this time a light fixture falls onto him without in a similar way, where Denton has no idea how it's happening. He just has the gun and the light fixture falls on
Yep.
Hodling.
We know how it happened because look who's at the doorway there.
Yes. This stops and humiliates Dan, but it doesn't kill him. So fate is playing a game here. And he's at the door and he's very happy with what he sees.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
causing some a turn of events for Denton. And he's offered more free drinks. But they're calling him Mr. Denton. And so he's somehow gaining back his own self-respect and self-control. And so he quits drinking and decides to get a shave. And now he doesn't need alcohol to cope with things. It's just having people treat him well somehow turned him around very quickly, very quick. Maybe his alcohol dependence was all emotional and psychological rather than physical.
Indeed.
And with his newfound self confidence, he slaps the shit out Dan Hodling and tells him, "Don't call me Rummy anymore," or something like that. I forget the exact line.
Young
Don't call me Rummy
whippersnapper.
anymore. Yeah. Oh, and this is where there's another there's a bit of dialogue I want to read. I was so good that once a day someone would ride into town to make me prove it. And every morning I'd start my drinking a few minutes earlier until one morning the guy who asked me to prove it turned out to be 16 years old. I left him there on his face, right there in front of the saloon. I left him there, bleeding to death with my bullet in him. I guess it'll start all over again now. And so this is where we find out what we said earlier. Killing that teenager is what made him stop shooting and turn to drinking. And now he finds himself at the beginning of that previous cycle once again. So it if some yeah so if somehow if fate weren't there and he decided to start shooting again, he'd just end up in the same cycle.
Yeah.
But but uh but fate is breaking that cycle. And
Indeed.
but Denton knows this is happening. After he stops drinking, he dreads what he has to get into.
Yeah.
He knows there's no way to get around it. He'll have to kill or be killed.
Yeah. He's just Duryea is just impeccable in this role.
He is. It's amazing how Twilight Zone was so good, even just off the beginning. These are just the first few episodes. This is one in a production order. This is one of the first episodes because you remember that very first thing we saw at the beginning where Rod Serling was saying, "Here are the first episodes that you're going to
Yeah.
see." And this was one of them.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of the Waco kids story from Blazing Saddles, says Gavin Blackburn.
Oh yeah, Gene Wilder's character. He's so fast you can't see him draw. Yeah, he's a drunken mess, and then when he gets sobered up, he's back to his lightning self. Waco kid.
Yeah, Gavin Blackburn says it's why Britain is such a mess at the moment. No guns. Yeah, no self-defense against those who would oppress. That won't. Stokan says yes. Denton gives up his gun, removes his agency, gives up his Second Amendment. Well, wait a minute.
Oh,
Right?
we're
And
getting
society
political here.
welcomes him. Well, I think if you choose not to use a gun, that's not giving up the Second Amendment. That's just not using a gun. You're not
Not wanting to kill
you're not
anymore.
imposing your decision on other people.
Yeah.
I guess if you're giving up the Second Amendment, you'd be running around bashing people over the head for having guns.
Yeah, that's it. Denton would not be doing that.
No, it's ridiculous. But well, he has to give up his gun. Well, we'll get to it. Why does he have to give up his gun? Stay tuned. We will get to the end of this episode pretty quickly. And okay, so Denton is called to the saloon to meet Grant at 10 p.m. So that's what happens here. And there's a certain point where I just can't find subtitles to go along with my copy of Twilight Zone, so I stopped getting subtitles at some point. Oh, maybe oh no, wait, that happens in the next episode. Anyway, I need to welcome to the panel Tiger Stripes. Welcome,
Hi,
Tiger
Jill.
Stripes.
Hello. Thank you. I'm so sorry I'm late.
Oh no, you're welcome anytime during the stream when you can make it. I appreciate you being here. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, I was doing the grocery shop and I got back a little late and the bro's like, you got to go get on your thing. Come on, you got to go get on the computer. Come on. I'm like, well, let's put away the frozen stuff first anyway. But
you can't let the ice cream melt.
I did watch these just last night and did the notes and it was interesting because sometimes in the back of my brain I saw these a very long time ago, but I don't remember them.
Yes.
And yet I think they still come out in my psyche in some way.
I know exactly how you feel about that, and I do also. I don't know if I've seen them all or not, but they do seem timeless and relevant, no matter how much time passes, which is just the definition of timeless. But
yes,
anyway, it does. They do ingrain in you, in your subconscious, even if you forget the details of the plot. I do agree with that. But here we're at the part of the episode because we Denton's already given up alcohol and the gun is
and had his shave.
Yeah, he's had his shave and the gun after the gun gives him a burst of confidence that he's back in terms of being in control of his life. And so then Fate did it, not the gun, as we were talking about for about 10 minutes. But Denton is called to the saloon to meet Grant at 10. He tries to say no, but he ends up agreeing. So then he decides he needs to practice, but his hands are shaky, possibly due to the alcohol withdrawal. Or he's just nervous that he has to shoot again. Like he really wasn't doing it himself, and it turns out his aim is now way off, and he can't even hit the cup that is only a few feet away. So that magic that was in the Fate is no longer controlling the gun, so that's how it was never really the gun, it was Fate. And as Stoko says, life is killer because well, and that's the cycle that Denton thought he was stuck under. And Gavin Blackburn says he can still raise a militia to oppose the government. Yes, he can. Yes. Yeah. Stoke Khan says, thanks. Good listening. Oh, you're welcome. I hope you do enjoy this show. The Court of Public Opinion. Oh, wow. The Court of Public Opinion says our little baby guns will never accomplish this task. Being a well, but it's just a matter of the populace having the capability of doing something that keeps government questioning whether they want to go down that road. James Caserta says, I thought this was the Scotty show. What? You already mentioned
Scotty. We don't need no stinking Scotty.
James Caserta, you're starting to spam that. You said that earlier.
It's Jill's channel, and we are discussing the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. I'm sorry for missing Scotty, but he'll be back on Friday.
Yeah. I mean, Scotty, he's a special guest star of the Anti-Derivative Jill channel.
It's true, and he's welcome anytime when he's here. But he's not here right now.
Yeah.
We're going to need a bigger gun with this episode.
No, that's the Colt 45 is big enough. That's just fine.
And and so Fate meets the Henry Fate. His
Henry J. Fate.
Oh, Henry J. Fate, played by Malcolm Atterbury.
Yeah.
He knows somehow that Denton's trying to run away. And Fate tells him not to do that and to instead try his elixir. And with this elixir, you'll be able to shoot a hole through a silver dollar in midair at 100 feet without even aiming. And this is demonstrated when Denton shoots out a street lamp. And this is he's a merchant, but he's not even charging Denton any money for this.
That's the old free sample.
First one's free.
Yep. The next one is $5. No.
He never really charges them any money.
Right.
So Fate had it in store for Denton to get this second chance. And so then that's he calls it a service, and we finally meet Grant, who is played by Doug McClure.
Not to be confused with Troy McClure.
Yes, but you might remember the inspiration of that Simpsons character.
Well, yeah, it's
half the inspiration,
right? Because Troy Donahue and Doug McClure combine them, and you get Troy McClure.
Is that
generic actor?
Well, no, not generic. Actors in a very specific sort of movie in the 70s.
Right.
Sort of late 60s, early 70s. That the big budget adventure romp.
Yes.
And I have to be honest.
Look how young McClure is. He's just so young.
I did think of that Simpsons character, but I thought, no, there's no way there's any connection here.
Oh,
and
there's absolutely a connection.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I used to always love that character on The Simpsons because he always say where I should remember him from, but I don't know
you might remember me from Stop the Planet of the Apes. I want to get off. Which is my favorite.
You might remember me from Journey to the End of the World to Find Captain Nemo.
Elixir, more vodka. Turvich. All right.
Tavarish.
And I loved those 70s Doug McClure dinosaur sci-fi movies.
You got it.
Golden.
At the Earth's Core is my favorite. And then there's, of course, the Land That Time Forgot.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I have those on Blu-ray. How about you, Tiger Stripes?
Oh, I'm just happy to see them whenever they pop up now and then on the TV.
There you go.
But you're a true fan.
I've never seen them, but are they like the ones where you see T-Rex fighting a Stegosaurus?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
And
really
sometimes
highly.
they're
Go ahead, Tiger.
no, you're the guy with the Blu-rays.
They're really highly realistic
Mhm.
guys in suits.
Very good.
No, they're just wonderful, cheesy fantasy films.
Yeah, they're sort of pseudo Vern.
Yes, that's a good way of describing them. Pseudo Vern. It's basically at the Earth's core and the land that time forgot. At the Earth's core is a definite Edgar Rice Burroughs adaptation. Then the land that time forgot is kind of a pseudo Edgar Rice Burroughs kind of thing.
But you say Vern as in Jules Verne?
Oh
Yes,
yes.
she's referring
Yes.
to the Vern,
Yeah, they're
as in
frequently
Jules.
period pieces, even
Yeah.
though,
Oh yeah.
the period is not lovingly recreated the way their things are today. But that's the idea.
Hmm.
Hmm, that sounds fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Gav- Gavin
That they
Blackburn
are
says,
they are meant to be fun.
Oh yeah.
my favorite gun training scenes are the outlaw Josie Wales, the man who shot Liberty Valance when John Wayne trains Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, two classic westerns. Uh, Man Who Shot Liberty Valance was released in '62, directed by John Ford, and Outlaw Josie Wales is from '76, of course, directed by Clint Eastwood.
And there is a
Wow.
trope, definitely. In a lot of westerns, the ex-sheriff who has become an alcoholic.
Yes, in Rio Bravo and El Dorado, it's basically the same story, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
in Rio
Hmm.
Bravo, it's Dean Martin's character that's the drunk that needs to recover, and then in El Dorado, it's Robert Mitchum's character.
Cool. Geckos with extra Philly bits stuck on them equals
Ooh.
Doug
Well,
McCartney.
that's more Irwin Allen 20th Century Fox stuff. But
That's really cute. Well,
Well,
and I like
I always feel very
I
bad
like
for the
that.
lizards.
yes, because
Well,
it's
hopefully,
that
yeah.
that certainly was not. It wasn't with their consent. No, it's very uncomfortable for those
Well,
poor guys.
well,
And
in Star Trek, none of the babies consented to having things stuck on them either.
oh, oh dear.
The little Cardassian babies or whatever. Um, maybe Denton was the sheriff. Oh, oh, that's an interesting question that's never brought up, but
I kind of doubt it. I think he was
that's
just
yeah,
a hot shot, but that's
Oh
an
yeah,
yeah.
interesting uh,
yeah. He
hypothesis.
was definitely, when he's talking about his history, he was definitely the top gun in town.
Yeah,
That's right. And so Grant shows up now that Denton seems to be the Top Gun once again, and they're about to draw when
yeah.
Denton realizes that Grant has a an elixir too.
Oh
And
dear.
yeah, and Grant is young, and I wonder if we're meant to see him as even younger than that, as Denton's story was about killing a teenager.
The 16-year-old.
Yes,
He
they
could
shoot
pass
and
for 16 in this. He looks so young.
Yeah, he looks
yes,
incredibly young.
yes, he could. They shoot and fire directly at each other's hands, and this ends up crippling both of them. And neither of them, according to the doctor who's on hand, will be able to shoot ever again. So
Yeah,
Denton is wise enough to tell Grant that they have both been blessed to never have to duel again. So
indeed.
this is kind of a happy ending.
Yeah,
Though it may be more confusing for Grant, his life will be better for it, and his fate is to not have to suffer as much as Denton did. And so then we have the closing narration, which I will ask Tiger Stripes to read for me as soon as I put it in the private chat. There it is.
Mr. Henry Fate, dealer in utensils and pots and pans, liniments and potions, a fanciful little man in a black frock coat who can help a man climbing out of a pit or another man from falling into one, because you see, fate can work that way in the Twilight Zone.
Indeed.
Thank you.
That's just great.
Yeah.
I actually wrote out that line because you see fate can work that way in the Twilight Zone. Yeah.
In the Twilight Zone.
I also kind of love the way Serling always gives all of his main characters an honorific. They are always Mr. or Miss or Mrs.
Right, Mr. Death.
Yes, it's interesting that he just has that
Mr. Fate.
need to do that, just sort of formalize our relationship with them.
It makes him
Like
more of a
he's-
character than just a passive circumstance.
And also like he's introducing us to them, particularly in the beginning.
Yes. Wouldn't you like to meet fate at a trying time in your life when you'd like to try something different?
I can actually think of several characters in traveling wagons who are peddlers of fortune and fate that may well have been inspired by Rod Serling's characters. He did have a love for the peddler, didn't he?
He did.
Yes. Because it'll crop up again.
Yes. Oh, well, and that's one of the most famous episodes, so we're going to hold our breath on that one.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Our tongue. Our
Tiger's-
tongue's not our breath. We can breathe.
Tiger Stripes. Have you seen the Western with oh gosh, I'm having a senior moment.
Think of something that he's done, and I think I can get you there. That's how it works for me.
Anyway, it's the Gunfighter, and it has a similar. There's a lot of similarities.
Movie or TV show?
It's a TV show, or excuse me. Now, I'm getting, this is ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's
all right.
Gregory Peck stars in the movie The Gunfighter. It was filmed in 1950, I think, 51.
I don't believe I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's kind of has a similar theme to this episode.
Good
And so,
title.
so Serling may have been inspired by that.
Ah,
Because it's an interesting.
well, I feel pretty sure that
Mhm.
now I'm having that moment. Oh, we're going to just spend our time playing ping pong like this with our brains.
Yeah, just go to Internet Movie Database real
The
quick.
Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is a very
Yes.
similar trope, and that was
Yes.
definitely made before 59.
Yeah, it was no, it was made in 62.
Wow, you're blowing
Yeah.
my mind. Amazing.
It's a great, if you look at Stagecoach, directed by John Ford, starring John Wayne, and you look at The Searchers, same thing, John Ford, John Wayne, and then you go to Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. There's this character arc, even though they're different characters, but it's a different treatment of a similar character, and through John Wayne and John Ford directing. And once we get to Liberty Valance, it's almost like the Stagecoach is the birth of that character, and then The Searchers is the midlife crisis, and then Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, the death of that particular kind of gunfighter, hero type character. But it's fascinating movie about
I'm looking forward to it. I still haven't seen it.
civilization
great.
civilization coming to the West.
On the telly just last week, but I always come in after it starts. I really have to go out of my way and just find it to watch.
Oh, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Yeah. I still haven't
The
seen that
Jimmy
one.
Stewart character represents the law, and the law coming to the Wild West is, now I won't say anything more than that, but
Was Grace Kelly
I
in?
do not know. I find out from the computer banks.
Yay!
it's Vera Miles is the female star in Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Vera Miles.
But yeah, I just wish that they had made that movie 10 years before, because everybody's just a little too old, except Vera Miles, of course.
That's really wonderful that Rod Serling allows himself to be inspired by all the stories he already knows in order to make his own.
Yeah, he puts his own spin on it, and even some of the stories, like especially in Night Gallery, that are classic horror stories, but then he does his own thing with it, and it's just brilliant what he does, and he adds a moral, it makes it into a morality play. Yeah, a lot of
That,
times,
yeah, that's what I appreciate about the Twilight Zone is
and then
it
especially, of course,
leaves
his
me with
originals
something.
in the Twilight Zone. He's just stellar most of the time. Sometimes he's not, but
Yeah.
Well,
but
I
this is
heard a couple other people talking about Rod Serling and on a different podcast, and they were kicking around the idea that because he had been in World War II and seen so much of the horror of war, that it gave his storytelling a very special spin. The way that you don't really know how things are going to come up. It's not always a morality tale. Sometimes things just
yes,
go bad. Sometimes God is watching you, and sometimes God isn't watching you.
yeah,
Sometimes that's the way the
that
cookie crumbles.
definitely, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. It's
Oh,
very
again,
important to,
I'm afraid I'm stealing it from Paul Giamatti and his partner in his podcast, Chinwag. But it was just, I thought that was really a brilliant observation.
yes,
Absolutely true.
it's
It was the
important
same
to
thing.
it's important to remember that Sherling was a World War II vet, and of course he was a paratrooper, and he fought in the Pacific Theater, and it was just horrific.
The
Uh,
paratroopers particularly had it
yeah,
bad because you go down with a certain number of men who are your friends, and only so many of them are going to make the landing.
yes,
Lots of fantastic storytellers have that kind of history. Gene Roddenberry and
Mm,
oh yeah,
J.R.R. Tolkien.
mm.
yes.
Yeah, that's true about Tolkien. I don't know
One
my
thing,
Roddenberry that well.
yeah, that one thing real quick about Serling is that at I think it was when he was in his early 40s, uh, or his mid 40s, he had kind of his midlife crisis, and he said, well, to prove his mettle, he went up in a plane and jumped out of it with a parachute, just like his World War II days, just to prove
Oh.
he could still do it.
Well, I can see too how that might help you get over some of your horrors. If you're
That's
having
true.
PTSD, doing something like that might help you gain a little more control of the way you feel about yourself, in the same way as this last show
Yeah,
with
good
Mr.
point.
Denton.
Hmm.
Wow. Um, yeah, that is a good story. I wonder how he felt after he did that. But I do want to finish the chat and get started with the next episode in just a
Yes,
little
indeed.
bit after we get through the chat. James Caserta says, "Journey to the Center of the Earth."
Yes, that's 1959 20th Century Fox production starring James Mason and uh, Pat Boone and let's see, uh, oh, can't think of the female lead, Deborah Kerr. Uh, that was
Oh,
with the old lizards with fins stuck on them to make them look like dinosaurs.
oh, very good. Uh, Greek Letters Larson says, "I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy." And
I
I know it's
shot
a
the
song.
sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. Stupid song. I don't like it, but anyway, that's how it goes.
Thank you for singing it, though. Yes, I do know how it goes. I just didn't feel
Yeah.
like Star Trek
Oh,
is poodles with horns stuck on their
Gavin.
heads.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
no, I love that. Well, at least it was a
but
cute little jumpsuit thingy.
yeah, but yeah, I like there's a picture that I encountered where a woman was cosplaying as that animal at a Star Trek convention.
What animal?
The animal
The
that
horned poodle.
the horned
Oh,
poodle
she
from
did?
Enemy
Oh my
Within.
god,
Yes,
I didn't know she did.
yeah. Uh, I'll have to try. I know it's in my collection somewhere. I encountered it on the Star Trek podcast.com discussion forum.
There's a moral in there somewhere. Yes, there is. People were more polite back then. Always Mr. and Mrs. and Miss.
Yes.
Oh, and Matt G is here. He says, hello.
Hello, Matt G.
Peddler equals gypsy or traveler, says the court of public opinion.
No, because a peddler actually has goods to sell. And a gypsy or a traveler may not.
Yeah.
They're really out to con you.
And in
Whatever
this case,
it is, it's
the
contagious.
peddler was fate itself.
Gavin Blackburn loves Liberty Balance. It has the best scene of somebody blowing smoke in somebody's face to induce a flashback memory.
Ah, yes. Yes, indeed. Gavin is quite correct. It's the revelation scene. But that's all I'm going to say.
Don't kill women and babies, and you'll not have PTSD from that. I mean, yes. Greek Letters Larson says, did Jill just compare Tolkien with Gene Roddenberry? I'm not going to mispronounce.
Roddenberry. Well, it's the war veteran, and that is a direct comparison.
that was the only comparison, is that they both fought in
with
wars.
Tolkien, it's World War I. With Roddenberry, it's World War II. So
and became writers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just Watcher X says Serling got disability from being shot in the leg. If memory serves, this small amount of funding helped him afford to write The Twilight Zone. Oh.
Well, maybe get his start as a writer. He actually won a writing contest, and that jump-started his writing career.
A combination of circumstances that were fortunate.
Yes.
Or seemingly unfortunate, but
yeah, I was saying yes to Gavin Blackburn's comment here. This is very important.
Okay, could you please read it?
Gavin Blackburn says Serling was very sympathetic towards the Japanese in the Twilight Zone. One story telling the war from the Japanese point of view, and that stars. Oh, now I'm having a senior moment. Dean Stockwell.
The court of public opinion says gypsies sold goods, and we're not out to con you. That's apparently racism, according to the court of public opinion.
Well,
the word was used in the context of gypsies and travelers, and both of those groups of people. You know, it's not only a group of people, it can also be considered a profession by themselves.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure different things were also offered. Hence the slur gyp. Yeah, that is a thing.
I always kind of like the word gyp, but
people use that word, but it's
I'm guilty of using that, but I'm an oldie Olsen. and we spell gyp
like
with
word.
a J, actually.
Oh yeah, no, you use that word when you're a kid and you don't even know its source.
Oh yes, indeed.
That's right.
Exactly.
Most people who use that word don't know where it came from. James Caserta says Jill is thinking, no, what? No, I'm not. What? Why would I do that?
She already has a man-child.
Yeah. Greek Letters Larson says, at least Tolkien didn't force his heroes to wear pajamas. Oh. Hey. The Comic Relief Crusader. Hello. Great to see you. But Tolkien made Sam be an indentured servant. What? No, Sam wanted to be
not an indentured servant. That's ridiculous.
Here we go. He's a gardener.
You're just looking for some sort of political observation on pretty much everything everyone says. So
hence the court of public opinion. Emphasis on court.
Actually, I believe that's his or her own opinion.
I'm starting to read Lord of the Rings. Tiger Sharps and I are reading Lord of the Rings, and we're gonna talk about it. And I didn't realize how long these chapters are, but this is gonna be good. But
Yeah.
Sam is a gardener. He's he's a gardener of Bag End, and he overheard some information, and he wanted to join Frodo.
Wanted to see
he
the
loves
elves.
Frodo.
Yeah.
He's friends with Frodo. They're close.
Best friends with Frodo.
Yeah. Yeah, and he loves the adventure stories. He's one of those hobbits that
So
people
you're
gossip
so
about.
you're both reading Fellowship of the Ring now.
Yes.
Yeah, it sure takes its time, doesn't it?
Yes,
I kinda
yes,
love
he
that
does
about
call
it.
he
Well,
does
what-
call him master, but that's
What-
that's respect.
Yeah, what I was referring to is what I liked about Peter Jackson's adaptation is that there's more of a sense of urgency right away. Gets things going, but that's all I meant by that.
Well, would be the difference between a movie and a book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Me,
Yes.
I love the storytelling. They could put every second
certainly.
of that book into a film or a
Yes,
series,
James.
and I'd be in.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, wasn't being critical.
Okay, now that we're getting into Lord of the Rings, let's switch back to the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
Now let's go to Rod Serling's. Well, I really liked Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard, but I want a better ending.
Greek Letters Larson, maybe someday I'll read the Silmarillion, but that's a little hefty. That's a
Yeah.
I've
hefty
tried.
Bible.
Yeah, I have tried and I
I've
have
tried.
failed.
Yes, I've tried and failed. I may
do have
try
that
again,
volume
but
in my
not
collection.
this year. I'm busy reading Lord of the Rings again.
Yeah.
Yes,
It will
this is
take
gonna
the
be fun.
year. It does take
Yeah,
the year.
It
the
does
first-
take a year. This
yeah,
is true.
The first time I read Lord of the Rings, I made a point of reading each book the month before Peter Jackson's film of that same book came out, so it was fresh in my
Wow.
mind.
That is, you dedicated a lot of time. I'm
That is
gonna have to use up
dedication.
all of my free time in order to just get through 6 chapters with all the
I
other
went and
things
bought a
that I'm doing.
notebook today. It's 100 pages. I
Yeah.
think it's going to take more than that, but I think I might be able to keep it to 100 pages of
Oh,
observations.
you could buy multiple notebooks.
Yeah.
I've got a
think I-
Kindle,
I
so I
don't-
put
I-
the notes right in
Well,
there.
we haven't really discussed how long we're going to. Well, we're digressing.
We are.
are.
Let's talk about
The
this off-
16
off
millimeter
this-
shrine.
Off this show. Yes, the 16 millimeter shrine first aired on October 23rd, 1959. It was directed by Mitchell Leisen and written by Rod Serling. The music for the episode was done by Franz Waxman.
Franz Waxman, yeah.
Mhm.
And he did the music for Sunset Boulevard.
Oh my God! Really? And
Yes.
that's what I found out. This episode is based on. So
Oh yeah, this is not one of my favorites.
I
'Cause
didn't know.
I prefer Sunset Boulevard, but
That's what everybody says.
yeah,
but I
Ida
haven't seen
Lupino,
it.
Ida Lupino and Martin Balsam are excellent, of course.
I liked this. I liked this quite a bit, and
Uh-huh.
Sunset Boulevard's such a grim movie.
Yes.
With in sort of with a
Good old film noir.
with a disturbing ending, and I really prefer
Yes.
this ending because there's
Well, yeah,
she
it's
escapes
more-
into her
yeah.
fantasy
yeah,
literally,
Right.
which is
it's a
kind of
Twilight Zone kind of thing,
Yes.
and
Yes, exactly.
uh-huh.
That's the twist.
Yeah.
Barbara Trenton, played by Ida Lupino. She's a well. We start off watching her watch movies of herself in her old home theater, her own home theater rather, and in 16 millimeters, as the title suggests. So, I actually do recognize this episode. I think I might have seen this recently. And so we right away we're reading the opening narration. I will read this opening narration. Picture of a woman looking at a picture. Movie great of another time. Once a brilliant star in a firmament, no longer part of the sky. Eclipsed by the movement of earth and time. Barbara Jean Trenton, whose world is a projection room, whose dreams are made out of celluloid. Barbara Jean Trenton struck down by hit and run years and lying on the unhappy pavement, trying desperately to get the license number of fleeting fame. And
Wow,
so
that's quite quite the intro, isn't it?
it is. It tells you everything about how
Hmm.
she feels about life and what it keeps her in that fantasy of trying to relive her younger days.
I feel eclipsed by both Earth and time. But I'm an oldie Olsen,
Oh.
and
So Trent,
I like to relive my childhood by watching Star Trek.
yeah, yeah, and that's another thing. As I feel like we do that here
Hmm.
on YouTube
Oh
with the
yes,
exploration of nostalgia and the escapism
yes.
of reliving those times
Yeah,
when things were
that's
entertaining and
that's
fun.
uh that's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's 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 part of why I started my channel to explore Star Trek,
Yes.
but also but also to explore the Orville, which is something new that's good. So
Hmm.
it's a I have a combination of both of those things,
Yeah, this episode, Serling was not
the
happy
old
with.
and the new. Oh, he wasn't happy with
No,
it?
he.
I like it so much.
How do you
I'll.
know?
I'm going to read a little bit from the Twilight Zone, "Unlocking the Door to a Television Classic" by Martin Grams Jr. Uh, in the trivia section for this episode, he quotes Serling. He says, "I don't mean to sound temperamental," Serling explained in an interview, "but I don't want to be put on the block every time I write a play. What people don't seem to realize is I can't write a Requiem for a Heavyweight or a Patterns every time around. This episode best suited Serling's opinion when, after viewing the rough cut, he discovered that the finished film did not meet his expectations. What a writer puts to paper doesn't come out exactly as he envisioned." So
Oh,
he
okay.
was not happy with it, and he said in commenting to a reviewer, he said um, the prime example, the show starring Ida Lupino. The dialogue was good, the acting excellent, but I found the ending just a bit. Oh, this is the reviewer that said it to Serling. He found the ending disappointing, and Serling, after reading this opinion, wrote a reply to the televiewer agreeing with his analysis of the show, quote, "which I disliked intensely, but stick with us. The best is yet to come," unquote.
Yeah, and okay, and by that he means the further episodes, so all the ones that he's going
Yeah.
to continue to
And
write.
a
Well,
little more,
why would he dislike his own ending? Do you think it was changed? That just doesn't
I
that
think
doesn't sit with me.
he doesn't like how it was filmed, the way it was directed, perhaps.
Directing? Oh, wow.
He likes the performances, and it is his script, and it is his ending, but he just wasn't happy the way it turned out.
I wonder if
I'm
he disliked the whole scarf
Oh.
ah
thing.
maybe so. He just
Well,
not
no,
specific.
that sounds like something that Serling would write.
Yeah. But a little more than a year after writing the script, Rod Serling was asked to account for the story origin for a reporter at TV Guide in June of 1960. Serling remarked, and this was never published in the magazine, but Serling remarked, quote, "I don't know where the hell I got this idea, but I wish I had never gotten it," unquote. Of course,
Oh, he
the
didn't
inspiration
know.
is Sunset Boulevard. To me, it's painfully obvious, but
It is obvious, but sometimes a writer will forget the stories they've seen and just
Well,
write it
that's so
mhm.
anyway.
true.
I'm
And
I
Yeah.
have
oh,
one
and it
more.
happened with Star Trek with the
Mhm.
arena. Like
Yeah, I have.
that was probably they probably read that magazine story
Oh
and
yeah,
wrote it and didn't
Gene L.
realize.
Kuhn, and
Yeah.
didn't remember. But I have one more quick thing from the director Roy Colino. Uh, this is a quote: "Miss Lupino is a professional," added television director Roy Colino. "She is never late. She always knows her lines. She knows how to improvise." And like, and that was the end of the quote. And like Dan Duryea, Ida Lupino was paid $5,000 for her role as Barbara Jean Trenton. She was given a favored nations clause covering this episode, and residuals were to be set up in the following manner. First rerun, 1,000. Second rerun, third, fourth were 750, and the fifth rerun was 250. The fifth rerun buys into perpetuity. So every time it was
Very
run
good.
after the fifth, she got $250.
Really? That's
Yeah.
very, very good.
Yeah, it's very good because it
Very
used
good.
because once we get to Star Trek, it's only the first 7 reruns, and then you don't get squat, which I think is a crime.
That's not
Yeah,
good.
it's a
That's
travesty.
terrible.
It's a travesty. It's basically
It's criminal.
this is your investment. You committed to a contract for a series, and it's your bank because it's basically it should keep paying as long as it's being broadcast somewhere. So
I
all
concur.
the actors should have gotten a little bit of the syndication pie when Star Trek went into syndication.
Yeah, at least a little bit because
Oh
every time they
yes,
run it, they make money.
but that's changed. But that once we get
It's
to
been
Star
different
Trek and
for a
some of the
long time.
yeah
There's
yeah
a bar in the valley, in the San Fernando Valley, called Residuals,
oh
where you can show up with a residual check, no matter how small, and get a drink with it. And people do get residual checks that are pennies. So
Wow.
that's interesting. Now, are you Tiger Stripes? Are you still out in California?
not currently.
Not currently.
I've got a
Yeah.
foot in 2 places.
You you have so many fascinating anecdotes about all these celebrities and
Oh, thank you.
and
Ida Lupino became a TV director.
oh yes, but she was before that. She was a film director.
Really?
Have you seen The Hitchhiker?
I have not. Is that
Oh
Lupino? That's
yes,
fascinating because that
yeah.
story has legs. They keep remaking and remaking that film.
It was based on a crime spree, an actual crime spree in the early 50s, and it's a takeoff from that. It follows the actual story a little, or the actual event, especially how it ended in Mexico. But it's a real tough, gritty film noir.
I've got to
That
see it one of these days.
Yeah, it was filmed in I think it was 53 or 54, and she did a stellar job of directing. It was her own film company that she had with her husband at the time, Howard
Good
Duff.
for her.
And but the thing is, unfortunately, I think she and her husband made like a handful of films, and unfortunately, they were not, you know, they didn't make a whole
Good.
lot of money, and they didn't make a whole lot of money, and kind of their company fell under. But it's
distribution is where it gets you.
Yeah.
You can make anything you want, but if it isn't distributed, nobody can see it or read it or etc.
But I highly recommend that people check out The Hitchhiker, directed by Ida Lupino. It's on Blu-ray from Kino Lorber. I'm a shill for Kino Lorber.
It's really great she got into directing.
But yeah, I actually sent that.
Yeah, very unusual, for a woman.
Yes, that's what I'm
She may
excited
well have
about.
been one of the really first ones.
Yeah, before Ida Lupino as a female director, there was Dorothy Arzner in the 40s, and but yeah, she's one of the few, one of the first. But and it's it's funny how she got her all male crew to do things. She would kind of flatter them and use she would just she was manipulative, but she had to be that way because of
You
the
have to. Well,
because
directors are supposed to be manipulative.
because of the sexism. It was just like, wait a minute, who's this? And it's like it's just ridiculous. But she I highly recommend that film. People should check it out. It was one of the Blu-rays that I sent to Doomcock, and he was just blown away by it. So
Cool.
it gets
Yeah,
2 thumbs
that's
up from Doomcock, if that helps.
well, yeah, definitely. He has really good taste. James Caserta says unreality protects us all from death, and so does love. So, well, at least it doesn't. It doesn't stop death, but it makes us forget about it for a little while.
Yeah. But now I'm
Both of
thinking
those
about it.
things.
Doggone it, James Caserta. No.
Greek Leonard Larson says, okay, when I was a kiddo, I had this crazy idea that every thought we had, every fictional character, came alive in a different universe.
That's very Ray Bradbury of you.
Yeah, that does sound like, well, and there's some movies like that where an author writes something and it becomes a
Yeah.
reality. Gavin Blackbird says it's not a comeback. I hate that word. It's a return.
In reference to,
I don't know. I'm not sure, but it's
Mm.
just a personal preference of
yeah,
the English language from
Yeah.
Gavin Blackburn.
Gavin
I
wants
truly
us to
hope.
talk better.
All
Yes,
artists are perfectionists that hate themselves.
that's not
What?
true at all.
That's
Yeah,
that's
I disagree.
Anytime you use the word all,
says
Yeah.
you're kind
says
of
James Caserta.
queering
Yeah.
your theory.
Yeah, as I
Well-
said earlier in the
Yes.
in the stream, a sweeping generality. It's like
Yeah. I don't think all artists hate themselves. But they all. I mean, I guess maybe it's possible.
yeah,
Many of them
some
have.
are they're you hear the trope, the cliche, I should say, that they're their own worst critic. And
Yes.
there's a lot of actors that cannot watch themselves on screen, so they don't watch their own movies because they just get, oh, why didn't I do it this way?
That's a very different situation because when you're acting, you are the vessel, you are the pen and the paper and the ink and the paint. And just looking at yourself on film is a very different experience for everybody because when you look at yourself in a mirror, you're seeing yourself reversed. You don't see yourself as other people see you. So just seeing yourself as other people see you it can be real jarring. It can
good point.
It can really rattle your brain.
Gavin
That is true. That is
Gavin
true.
Blackburn says my favorite Ida Lupino movie, in which she starred but didn't direct, is On Deadly Ground with Robert Ryan.
And so
she was also in High Sierra.
We should
go
probably
ahead.
shift back to this
to return.
show.
Yeah. To return to.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. You go first.
Oh, I was just going to say very quickly, there was a previous shot of the maid with the tray in front of the door, and the set, I believe, was reused in one of my very favorite Twilight Zone episodes, The Howling Man. It just seems so familiar, that set.
Those doors in particular, right?
Yeah, well, the stonework and everything.
The stonework, yeah.
So I feel pretty sure that either the same set or pieces of the set were reused. Probably in more than one Twilight Zone, too.
Yes. And the servant, his name's Sally. She's played by Alice Frost, and she's bringing some tea and snacks or coffee or something. But she finds that Trenton is missing. Barbara is missing, with the cigarette still burning. But it turns out she was just hiding back here behind the picture. And Sally's very disturbed at this behavior. She warns her agent who comes over, Mr. Weiss, Martin, played by Martin Balsam, about this behavior that she's noticing. And
Danny Weiss.
He's familiar with it. Yeah, Danny Weiss. Both friend and agent. Trenton is obsessed with living in the past where she was admired and adored. And even though this was made in 1959, there's still some truth. There's a lot of truth in this that older actresses have in being sidelined by younger women in terms of roles that are more interesting. There's no smoke. It's 84. Of course, with several exceptions, but it's a thing that happens. I enjoyed this episode because I've never seen Sunset Boulevard, but from everything I see, I'm supposed to see it. So I found it. It was already on my list, so I didn't have to add it, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
You don't have to see it.
If
you're a film noir fan, you may want to, but you don't have to see it.
Well, I like this episode, so I think I would like it.
Oh, well.
They both understand that she's living in the past just constantly. He tries to get her to go out and go do something. anything. Danny Wise ends up getting her a part as an actress, and this actually interests her. So she's actually this rouses her, and she starts reminiscing. She's hoping to get a romance role, and she starts talking about her times with actors and her past and everything. Mentioning that she was younger when she played those roles causes her to sour. She won't be able to get the same role she got 25 years ago. He wants her to accept that her role will change with age. But that's not something she's ready to internalize. She wants to deny it. And
That's
but
almost cruel
she's
because it certainly
basically
seems as if he loves her. He is
he
such a good
does.
friend, a
He has so
remarkably good
much
friend.
care.
He's more than an agent.
He is. Yeah. And there might have been something, but we don't see that part. But in any case, he gets her a role. He doesn't tell her what it is, and so I guess maybe she wouldn't even have gone to the meeting if she knew what role she was getting. Maybe that's why he doesn't tell her. So then we get Marty Sale, played by Ted De Garcia, and she's getting a role as a mother of age 40ish. So she won't accept this, and this is why she doesn't act, because she can't accept the that her roles will change with age, in terms in a way that they're not going to match what she used to be able to get.
Yeah, it's you used to be pretty big. I still am big. It's the pictures that got small, to quote Norma Desmond.
That's Sunset Boulevard again.
Yep,
Oh, I really
Sunset
loved
Boulevard.
Balsam's toss-away line before they get to the studio where he says, "Get your war paint on," because I have always thought of my cosmetics as war paint personally. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, this guy's really cruel.
Yeah,
He
right.
is your
He
he's your
lays it out.
and well, people in the industry can be extremely cruel, even to young, beautiful women, horribly cruel. It's
And if you want to know,
there's things
yeah,
going on that you don't want to know about. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, you said it. I'm thinking now of the way Louis B. Mayer treated the young Judy Garland. He
Well, I was
called her.
thinking of even just recently Demi
Hmm.
Moore's acceptance speech for her Golden Globe.
Oh,
Yeah, where she said she remembered something someone said to her 30 years ago, where they said to her, "You're a popcorn actress," meaning, you can put butts in the seats, but you'll never be respected by your peers. And
yeah, that's
things
that's
that
pr-
things that
that's
people
pretty
say to you
ugly.
really,
Yeah,
she remembered it too.
yeah,
It was a
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it can
just that's
be,
plain.
I
That's
think
just
I think all
awful.
businesses can be savage in their own way. There's always a lot of competition within a specific business, but nothing quite like acting.
Yeah.
and you were saying, Stone Racket, about Judy Garland being
Oh, yeah. I've
a
mentioned
similar
this. I
comparison.
mentioned this before on another live stream, maybe even one of yours. I can't remember because I'm an oldie Olson. But Louis B. Mayer called the young Judy Garland his gargoyle, his little gargoyle, and it was just.
Yeah, that's definitely not nice.
It's like what? She was incredibly talented and a lovely woman, and to be treated like that, and of course she had a horrible stage mother. Uh, it's just terrible what happened to her, how she was
Yes.
treated.
Yes, I did hear a bit about that
Yeah.
tragedy. I oh, okay, so let's see, where are we?
Yeah, it's
She's
like,
she's I'm looking in the chat here. It took place in Serling's mind, or is it the character's writers or viewers' minds? Oh, well, from his mind to ours. He
Yes.
transmits his imagination to us, and we're grateful. Brogu says hello, everyone. That's why I'm here in the chat, because I wanted to say hi to Brogu. Hope
Brogu.
you're having a wonderful day. Kapla to all of you. The
Kapla.
Kapla.
The world is not getting smaller. We're just getting bigger. 47. I know 47 is so young. That is too much. That's too much. That's too young. Well, and Weiss doesn't like him talking to her that way. Marty, he didn't appreciate that. But at the same time, he also doesn't want her. Wants her to help. He wants to help her recognize the reality of her situation, but she wants to withdraw into her old world where the present times don't exist if she shuts her eyes to it. That reminds me of a Dr. Seuss book. I can read with my eyes shut. Anyway, she declares that it's not the 1930s again, and that's simply because she states it so, and she wants to drown in that nostalgia and bring it forth through a 1930s party with her friends. The problem is that the friends that she mentions that she wants to invite are either dead, moved away, or no longer have anything to do with anything significant. So Weiss says, "You've built yourself a graveyard here. You keep wishing for things that are dead." And that's a pretty big statement in the episode, and in terms
That's
of
dark.
Yeah.
the negativity of nostalgia.
Yeah, definitely. Obsessive.
I loved the way that she had her little rant about actors in undershirts, which is clearly a Brando reference, and rock and roll. God forbid
Yeah.
rock and roll.
Oh, the rocket. Oh, that's right. Oh, I usually keep up the transcript for the episode. Let me see. I want to grab that just so I can
Yeah.
see
Can
that.
you
No, I
can
did
you
I
read
did like
that?
that. Yes, I
Can you?
can.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't want any of the outside world coming in. Not the Marty Sauls or the movies without sentiment, actors in undershirts, rock and roll, jukeboxes, not any of it. Whether you like it or not. This is her friend Danny. Whether you like it or not, that's the way things are. That's the way it is. And of
Yeah.
course, that's when she says
Also,
she'll shut her eyes.
yeah. Also, everything widescreen and in jukebox Technicolor.
I thought that rant was going to be bigger for some reason.
Yeah. That's okay. I just wanted to
I,
hear that line about the rock and roll again.
I hung out at a record store, amongst others, and where the big question once you kind of got to know the staff who worked there was, are you younger than rock and roll? And all I can say is thank God for Bill Haley.
Yeah. Tiger Stripes, did you ever hang out at a comic book store?
Oh, yes. I hung out at all the
Excellent.
bookstores and things.
Bookstores
Oh,
and
yeah.
comic book stores, record stores.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like bookstores.
Yes.
But her contempt for rock and roll, ouch. That's a generational thing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, don't let your kids get interested in those Beatles. Turn them towards the Monkees, who are safe and on NBC. Because I swear to God that my parents read something in Parents Magazine or some Better Homes and Gardens or something, because they did not ever object to us watching the Monkees. But anytime the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan, my dad turned the channel.
Thank goodness for the Monkees, because that's why we have Walter Koenig on Star Trek.
Yes. Yes, indeed, with that incredibly realistic wig.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, it was, yes, and it was definitely better when he grew out his own hair.
Yes, definitely. I felt
So-
sorry for him. Oh dear.
So, from the companion on page 75, we have this. Apparently, the director of this episode, Mitchell Lyson, did so well with this episode because producer Buck Houghton says Mitch had a feeling for how people could get that way. He undoubtedly reminisced about situations that he'd been in when he was on top. And Houghton continues with, he still lived in the past, drove his Rolls Royce, had a chauffeur, insisted on a lot pass, and so forth. He wasn't getting enough money to live that way. But he was a real talented man in his day. Well, always talented, but he wasn't able to adjust to television. He wanted to make television like a feature picture.
Yeah, that old
Yeah,
time
who's
is the
this?
enemy,
Who?
time and money. But yeah,
Who
it was
was
nice
that
that
regarding?
the director of this episode, which was what was that again?
Mitchell
Mitchell.
Mitchell Lyson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Well,
you
course,
had the perspective of Serling and I had the perception of the producer talking about the director. So put
yeah,
them together
good
and
old Buck Houghton.
however, yeah, however if this was directed more like a movie than a TV
Hmm.
show, maybe that's why Serling didn't like how it came out.
I don't know. I really like directors that viewed television as films that were just happened to be on TV. You know, they would shoot it as they would a theatrical feature. But the
Mhm.
thing is, time is the enemy, and of course, money as well. But definitely time, because they had to crank out these things in 5 days. You know, it's just if you go over schedule, over budget, you're not rehired. You know,
Yeah.
if you do that too many times. So unfortunately, but hey,
It's
he drove a Rolls Royce, and if I had a Rolls Royce, I'd still be driving it too. But I'm an
yeah.
oldie Olson.
I no, I think that's cool. But oh, I don't have a problem with the way this episode looks or the story or the or anything. So I can't figure out what Rod didn't like. Um, an
That's
old
yeah.
an old actor friend eventually. So instead of putting on this impossible party, Danny decides to invite an old friend who worked alongside Barbara before. And she pushes Danny away, but then she realizes the old friend is somebody that is very important to her, that who she thinks about a lot, Jerry, her Harridan, and she's excited to meet her old friend. But until she sees him,
And realizes he's an oldie Olson.
yeah, exactly. Oh shoot, there
Well,
it
the
is.
Coke bottle glasses don't help. They've
Yeah,
really done everything they
definitely.
can.
He's played by Jerome Cohen. Yes, the Coke bottle glass. I think those were added just to really dig into that
Yeah, to punch it.
perception of age, and it works.
Yeah, thank God for modern lens technology because I used to have really thick lenses, but now they're not so thick as they
Well,
were.
now, yeah, but now also you could get LASIX if you
Well,
wanted.
I don't want to have
I
that
don't want
done.
to either. I haven't done it
It's just
myself.
it's unless they can completely knock me out, I can't. I'm not going to have anybody working on my eyes.
Yeah, they have to
Plus,
slice
if
your
you
eye. Oh
yeah,
my
plus
god.
if you want to go up into the Himalayas, they're going to screw up your vision. So hey, I
Really?
won't be able.
If you
Yeah,
get
if you go,
LASIX, you
yeah,
can't go up into
LASIK,
high
you go up to
altitude.
high altitudes, it really screws up
Oh,
your
see, if
vision. I've
what
heard.
if I wanted to climb Mount Everest? I
That's
couldn't do
right.
that if I got
Couldn't do that if
legs.
I had. Of course, it's like, well, no, I
You
don't
can't
really want
climb
to.
Mount Everest. You have children.
Yeah,
It's
there you go.
irresponsible. That's my personal belief.
Yeah,
That's a good
I was
point.
a
Just
joke.
remember, every dead person on Mount Everest was once a highly motivated individual. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite memes. So just relax.
Yeah.
It was an absolute joke. I would not,
No,
Yeah.
I know.
do that.
Yeah, I would
I'm
not
joking
go
too.
either. It's basically there's some areas on the world that you're not supposed to go. It's like that's one of
Mhm.
them.
Oh, that's good to know. I knew there's a reason why I haven't done that. It
Yeah.
limits you in a way.
Another one is going down and deep into the ocean. It's like, no, nope. I will go. I
Now
will
I
go
can't
into outer
scuba dive.
space. I will go into outer space, but I will not go deep in the ocean. I just
Yeah,
no
but
way.
this little reunion of theirs, this get together, it reminded me. I was once watching a filming. I haven't even watched it all the way through, but it's a filming of a Buffy reunion, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Notable crew and the cast, and the whole thing starts off with Joss Whedon saying, "It's like a high school reunion, but so much more worse because everyone still looks really great." So.
Yeah, she's flustered that he doesn't look the way she remembers him.
Yeah.
She doesn't accept
Oh,
that
it
he's
is
not
it is
20
flustering.
years
Take it
younger.
from me. When you go to a reunion and you don't recognize anybody,
Well,
it's a
and
bit of a shocker.
I didn't go to my last reunion. Like there was a 20th. I went to the 10th one, and then I was like, I wasn't that impressed, so I just didn't go this time.
Yes, I've only been to one. It was the most recent one, so it was many decades, and it met my expectations.
Oh, see, maybe it's better when you're old. Well,
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
saying.
That's not necessarily a good thing.
No,
No,
it met your expectations,
it
so
met
it
my
sounds positive.
expectations. It
Oh,
does,
that's
doesn't it?
not a
And
positive.
yet, and yet.
Yeah, I've avoided all of the high school reunions. I just have no interest. High school is
Yeah,
not
because
high school is not a pleasant time for me.
you drift away from people anyway, and so if you haven't kept up with certain friends, then
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
all
why
of
do you
my
want to see them just one day?
all of my high school friends, they've just gone their separate ways and they never kept in touch and I tried to keep in touch and I just got tired of making all the effort just on my own. Uh,
Oh, so much of life is a one-way street that way, I'm
yeah.
afraid.
Oh yeah.
I noticed that she seems to have pineapples on this particular fancy gown, which is
Oh,
interesting.
you're
They
right.
are
Interesting.
symbolic of hospitality.
Now I'm
Oh, is
thinking
that
of
it?
Psyched or Psych, the pineapple joke.
I didn't think of that, but she's being so rude to her friend. But
Yeah.
it's because she wants to deny
Yep.
the passage of time.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's it right there.
He quit acting already. The man in the Coke bottle glasses. He runs
Okay.
he runs supermarkets outside of Chicago.
Even
Yep.
Fess Parker eventually started selling cars.
Oh, and you can
Yep.
see the whole dress here. It's really pretty.
It's quite spectacular.
So Tiger Stripes, Daniel Boone was a big man who sold cars. No.
Davy Crockett,
And Davy Crockett
king
before
of the
Daniel Boone.
wild used
Yeah.
car lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a similar, well, just by looks, I'm similar age to her. I'm gonna be 40 this year, and I'm here for it.
You're such a
I got a
baby.
white hair. I got a white hair too,
Oh, yeah. That's where you
and
start noticing 40.
Oh,
It's
Jill.
when it hits you.
Jill, you said you got to pluck that out. Pluck those white hairs
No,
out. No,
no,
no.
don't
I don't
listen
want
to
to be
him.
bald.
Yes,
No,
that's
no.
true. Do
I'm
what you
just
must, but do
yeah.
not. I once caught somebody at work, a coworker, in the ladies' room pulling out every white hair she could reach, and I said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, what
And
the
she
hell are you?
said, "Mind your own business, of course." But then she thanked me about a month or two later. Like she said, "I don't know what I was doing." Then she started dyeing her hair, which is if you want to
Yeah.
do that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well,
I
dyeing
certainly do.
yeah, dyeing is fine, but
Yeah,
just
but no.
if you do it too much, that hurts your hair too. I'd rather just have, my hair be its natural color, and
Oh,
people are gonna know that I'm older, or anyway, my face is gonna show it. So what does it matter what my hair color
No,
is?
Jill, hair dye and Botox. No, I'm no,
I
no.
have seen enough people from Hollywood
Oh
do
my
that to
goodness.
their face
Yeah,
that I don't wanna.
that's exactly right. You do not want to do that.
It's
at
not
all.
really the Botox that distorts people's faces. I believe it's what they call filler,
Mm-hmm.
which just this
Oh.
last year, they've recently made the proclamation it never really leaves your face,
Yeah.
which they
So
didn't tell people before that.
So
They used
inject
to
yourself
say,
with poison. It'll be there
yes,
forever.
they used to say, oh, it will dissolve. No, it never really leaves your face. It just sort of accumulates.
Oh dear.
Anyway, I'm gonna
Yes.
accept that I'm gonna be 40 and not try to pretend like I'm 20. But
Good. That's healthy.
but Trenton, Barbara just can't do that. She's
She doesn't want to
incapable.
play a mother, which is
She
sort of
yeah.
sad.
I already play a mother, so I'd
There
be
you
pretty good
go.
at it.
In real life and not
In
on
real life
TV.
and not on TV. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not a doctor, but I play one on TV. And you should buy this product because I play a doctor on TV.
And here's where we enter the Twilight Zone. She starts talking to the movie Jerry, complimenting his youth. She wishes she could be with him. And then you get the scene going fuzzy, like it sometimes does when people are going to sleep. And Sally sees Barbara's not in her chair. She's frightened by what she sees to the point that she screams and drops her tray.
That was a good scream, too.
It was. So if Barbara were simply around the movie, like in the movie already, I don't know that Sally would be screaming. I wanted to ask you guys, what did she think she saw exactly?
She saw the Barbara of today on the screen.
Is that all? You think
Mhm.
that's what she was screaming about?
Yeah, and
Is
then
what we see at the end?
Yeah, yeah. She
Is
s-
that
she she sees what we eventually see at the end. Yeah. Mhm.
okay? It gives me kind of an eerie feeling that this transfer to celluloid might have been done violently in some way, but I don't know exactly how.
That's a good thought, though. Is like, did she witness the actual transformation or the transition from reality to dream world celluloid? Is that, and
Yeah.
for you, it was for in your interpretation, it was something that was uh, violent or frightening, and hence her her maid dropping the tray.
That's what I'm thinking.
Hmm.
That that
Yeah,
that
that's
she
it.
didn't just
Yeah, we can go with that. It's open to interpretation there.
and that's the cool part because it leaves it to your imagination how she made it from
Yeah,
our reality to her celluloid fantasy.
yeah.
And Sally shuts off the projector and Danny comes over to help look for Barbara, but Sally says she's not here the way you and I are. So she did see something. I wanted I don't know exactly how she made it into the projector, but there she is having her 1930s party with all her old friends, just as they were at that time, and has everything she's ever wanted. Just kind of a bit like the Matrix in this projector. And she
Yeah.
blows a kiss to Danny, indicating that she recognizes his presence, throws her scarf, and leaves with the young Jerry, played by John Clark.
Hmm.
So she got what she wanted all along to live in the past in that celluloid. But it's a false fantasy. These aren't real people anymore. So to me, it's also really like the Nexus from Star Trek Generations. Um, and he, of course, when he leaves the projector room, he finds her scarf that she just threw. What happened in the celluloid had entered reality somehow, and that's another mystery in the episode. And is she alive any longer?
In that particular dimension, she is.
Not in the way you and I are, as the
Right.
maid
Oh.
says.
She's
As
alive
Sally says.
in the Twilight Zone.
Danny seems to accept her choice. The her total she's completely detached from reality, but she's living in her delusion. And sometimes people they do They do desperately cling to the past, and wanting to completely drown in that is actually something that's very relatable to some degree. Maybe not to the extreme of this episode, but we under while we understand the while we understand that time has passed, that wild escape to times where the world felt right under your control and more possibilities seemed attainable is pretty exciting and
I
enticing.
I collect Legos.
Mhm. Legos are good.
I like
It's
action
a healthy
figures.
pastime. I like Legos also.
Legos and action figures and
I
die-cast cars.
you
And
know some
I'm 65. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
Mhm.
Michael Leeson
Mitchell.
or Mitchell. I'm sorry, Mitchell.
Mitchell, yes.
What's the matter with me? I'm an oldie Olsen.
You're thinking about your next Lego build.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
On our show here, we explore ways to look back on things that we find nostalgic, but in what ways can nostalgia be a bad thing? And so I guess it's in this case when you are over obsessive
Yeah,
and reject reality.
definitely.
And so then we have the closing narration, which I will ask you to read Stone Racket. But I gotta paste it first. Let's see if it all gets in there. It did.
To the wishes that come true, to the strange mystic strength of the human animal, who can take a wishful dream and give it a dimension of its own. To Barbara Jean Trenton, movie queen of another era, who has changed the blank tomb of an empty projection screen into a private world. It can happen in the Twilight Zone.
And that makes it sound as if the ending is exactly what Serling intended. And it does seem like an upbeat ending by that summation.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand what it was he was unhappy with. I mean, other
Yeah.
than that, it's, you know,
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
It's a difficult mystery,
What?
especially since I
Yeah.
can't ask him.
It's a big conundrum, and the next episode we cover walking distance. He was very critical of that when he was
What?
teaching at college writing classes, and it's like I, that one I just totally don't understand. I love Walking Distance. It's probably my favorite Twilight Zone episode of all
It's
time.
actually, yeah, that's a fantastic one. That's one that PvP says he's gonna switch his schedule around to be here for next week.
Yeah,
oh,
it's basically it's Serling poetry. It's just brilliant, I think. I love that episode.
And speaking of walking distance, I'm gonna read the preview for that because that's going to be one of our 2 episodes next week.
Yes.
So this is the official preview for next week's story. We invite you to take a journey back in time with Mr. Gig Young, who tries to make the exodus of all men in their desperate attempt to relive the past. We offer a most bizarre story called Walking Distance, and we hope you'll be around to share it with us. And then, of course, since we do 2 episodes, I'll also read the one for the next episode. We an excursion into fantasy on the Twilight Zone next week as 2 distinguished actors, Mr. David Wayne and Mr. Thomas Gomez, appear in Escape Clause, the story of a strange contract between a mortal man and his most satanic majesty. A contract
wow.
that ends most surprisingly. We hope you'll be around to see what that surprise is. And so those are going to be for next week.
Wow.
So since I know I'm going in broadcast order, I was able to read those previews.
Oh, thank you for doing that, Jill. I appreciate it. Interesting, too, because I've always sort of conflated Gig Young and David Wayne when I was younger for quite a while. I couldn't quite
And
keep
now
them
you'll be able to
yes.
you'll be able to separate them because they'll be right next to each other.
Yes, I'll be able to contrast and compare.
The may I read the the original draft of the closing narration for 16
Yes, you may.
millimeters, right? To the wishes that come true, to the strange mystic strength of the human animal who walks that thin line between reality and the shadows and can somehow make one merge with another. To Barbara Jean Trenton, movie queen of another era and no longer of this one.
Oh, yeah. No, I like that. I like that ending too. What he just has a way with words that
Yeah,
I
he's.
can't.
Mm.
Oh yeah, uh, I just love the way Rod Serling writes, and I love the documentary done that they did on PBS where Cliff Robertson said that the dialogue that Serling would write, actors would cherish.
Mm.
It's just that was really
Right, right. You know, if you're getting a Rod Serling writing
Yes.
script, that you're not going to sound stupid. It's
Unlike,
gonna,
say, George Lucas, you can write this stuff, but you can't say it.
yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy that they cut down that crazy dialogue. I mean, if you look at the audition tapes with Mark Hamill, uh, it's just like what clunky dialogue, and I'm glad that they streamlined it. Uh,
Mhm. Right. And well, and if it was
eh,
overcomplicated but not
yeah, but
interesting and weird, then yeah,
Mark
just trim it
Hamill to
down.
this day remembers that entire speech of that he gives in his audition. He still remembers at every line.
Well, that falls in line with the basic idea that George Lucas is best when edited and somebody is telling him, "Hey, this is a good idea, but let's rework
Yeah,
it a bit."
yeah. He needs a Gary Kurtz to tell him no. It's like,
Yes.
no,
You
George.
need someone to tell him
You
no.
need someone.
I think most
Or we
people
get the
need
prequels.
somebody to tell them no. There's very few film auteurs
Yeah.
who I want to see every twist and turn. I think the ones
Mhm.
that I do, I can count on one hand.
They
Yeah.
do say never to edit your own work.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In term not like in terms of if you're an author, have someone
Mhm.
else
Yeah. Have someone
even if you
close.
know, yeah,
Yeah,
just
someone
because
that
you
you
know grammar, you're
that
gonna
you
miss
Mm.
something.
that you trust, and just say, hey, can you take a look at this and
I
give me your
can think
honest
of some
opinion?
science fiction authors who were much the worse for not being edited once they gained that level of success.
Mhm.
Yeah. Tiger Stripes, I was kind of curious when you comment earlier. Who is in your pantheon of film auteurs?
Oh, that who can do anything they want? The one that springs to mind is Wes Anderson. He's
Uh-huh.
just such a delight. Even when he's sort of just going on and on with all his little, the things that he does, it's still very watchable.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm
The Monkeys was a
oh
psychotic show. I never
No, it
watched it.
wasn't. The Monkeys was great
Since James
it
because
was doing it.
it it
it
made
was
it commonalized the long hair on men and the groovy threads and the whole mindset, and also taught the entire world a slight apprehension of what's the word I want? I'm not going to be able to go there, but it taught you to mistrust authority in a way that no other television show had before.
yeah, I liked its
So it was good for the world.
yeah, its self-reflexive quality, and also it got kind of surrealistic. But it was funny when John Lennon was confronted by a journalist. You know that
Yeah, do you think
he,
the Monkees are like the Beatles? He says, I
you
thought they were more like the
the
Marx
Marx
Brothers.
Brothers, right? Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. So Tiger Stripes knows.
I'm a big Monkees fan.
You got it. Yep, I watched that show back in the day when it was brand new, along with my siblings, and I don't Tiger Stripes. Did you collect the monkeys records that were on the back of like alphabet cereal and honeycomb and
Yep.
yep. All right.
Flexi disc, they call them.
Yes, you got
But
it.
a lot of things came out on flexi disc. All of
Uh-huh.
the Beatles
What?
Christmas recordings to their fan club came out on flexi disc.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What is
Well,
Flexi?
basically, for what I'm referring to, is on the back of like honeycomb cereal and alphabets. Uh, they had these. You just cut them out from the back of the cardboard box. It was a plastic overlay on the cardboard box that was actually, record grooves. It was an actual record you could play. It wasn't high quality, but you could actually play it.
Oh,
Um,
hey.
and it was,
Cereal
yeah, it was on the back of, like,
records.
I collected, like on the alphabets, uh, box, it was, the black background, and it had the, pictures, floating heads, kind of pictures of the monkeys. And then on, honeycomb, it was a blue background with their guitar logo, with the monkeys, guitar logo. And I collected all of those, and so did some of my siblings. But yeah, it's just
Oh.
it was because of those records we got our parents to buy the sugar cereal, which didn't really happen that often. It was usually just a treat. But when those records were on there, it's like, oh, we got to. I remember searching through the shelves, and okay, I already have that record. Oh, this is the one I don't have. I don't have Valerie. Buy this one, Mom. It's like,
Oh, that was nice of them to tell you what records were in which
yeah,
box instead of
Well,
just
no,
saying,
it was on
oh,
the
No,
these are
back.
they
random.
were
It was
fused
on the
to
back
the
of the
box.
box. It was
Yeah,
fused to the
flexi
back
disc
of the
is
box.
basically it's the vinyl recording, but not on vinyl. It's a very light, sort of disposable plastic, but it's
Yeah,
fused to the cardboard.
yeah,
Yes, I
Yeah.
mean, what I meant to say is it was nice that they didn't hide what records were inside, like today, where they
yeah,
say, "Oh, this is a mystery. You have to
yeah. The
get out. You
mystery
have to
thing.
Like a
collect."
blind box.
I
Yeah,
hate that.
yeah. I don't
Like,
like
I'm
that
buying
either.
this thing. I want to know what the thing is that I'm buying.
Yeah,
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 like
that was always frustrating.
some of those Lego figures, they would come out, and it's like, oh, it's a mystery. But I bought those off of eBay from sellers that actually knew what they were. I don't know how they
Yeah,
did it, but they were still sealed. But they put a little picture. They would tape a little picture of what the actual figure was inside the little envelope. And so,
you bought your blind boxes from Superman. Yeah, they had X-ray
they
vision
had
too. Yeah.
X-ray. Yeah. I mean, my nephew said, "Oh, well, if just how the figure feels, if you know the general shape of it." And I'm kind of going, "No, I wouldn't be able to do that at all.
Okay, yeah, that
Only
makes more
very
sense.
few, very distinctive figures that you know are in this particular series. I mean, you might be able to guess, but not every one of them."
Yeah, you gotta be really certain, especially if you're charging people a certain amount.
Yeah,
James Caserta says I can do a double backflip just once. Oh,
It's
cool.
impressive.
that is
How
cool.
I wonder how old James
Um,
Caserta is that he can still do that.
I don't know, but that is cool. Uh, Gene Roddenberry captured God on celluloid.
No, he did not.
Do I have that?
What does God need with a starship?
But that was the opposite of God. That was someone pretending to be the Almighty.
Yes, that's right. He was just an alien in the
There's a lot of
center
that going on.
of the galaxy.
But yeah, Gene Roddenberry sure was confused about spiritual things, that's for sure, and he had a kind of a God fixation.
And
But
the thing is, the good thing is that he didn't never stomp on anybody's religion. He always wanted to respect people's religion.
yeah, he questioned it, but the thing is, he made darn sure in Bread and Circuses that the Christ angle was
True.
maintained. And his son Rod, he had baptized by a priest and a rabbi and what's the Muslim equivalent?
Covering all the bases.
Yes, he did. Literally, he did that. He just because he wasn't sure. It's like, okay, But because people go, "Oh yeah, he was an atheist." Well, he was a humanist, but he wasn't a full-fledged atheist because he still,
So he was more of a deist, like I believe there's God. I'm not sure which one.
yeah, probably something like that. A deist is, believes in a higher being, but that higher being is no longer involved with his creation. It's kind of like, what? No, that's not right. But
Well, maybe. I mean, God gets busy and goes to do something else.
he
Why not?
he underlies everything. But anyway, let's not don't go into that right now.
Yeah. Oh, right, right.
It's all James
Omnipresent,
Caserta's fault. And always spell
omnipotent.
God with a capital G, James. No.
Well, maybe that's why it's lowercase g because
Yeah.
that is
It's
his
not God, it's God on celluloid.
recognition.
Yeah.
It is lowercase God.
Yeah. It's not the real deal. Fleet Admiral Levi. Sorry I had to
Yes,
miss today's episode. Just checking in real quick. Hope to be on the next one. Well, there you go.
Cool.
yes, yes. So yeah, that's Philip. He helped me review For All Mankind. And was he on the first Twilight
Yes,
Zone?
he
I think
was.
he was. Yeah, he was
That's where I
there.
met him, and
Mhm.
but it was great having Tiger Stripes here to help us go through these episodes.
Absolutely. Tiger Stripes is a wealth of
Thank you.
knowledge
And
as well as you are.
and Tiger Stripes, I hope you can be with us for
My
many more of
intention
these
is to be
episodes.
here. I will do my
Excellent.
best.
Yeah.
I should have
So,
gotten up earlier today.
so
I'm
I
a little
like your
embarrassed.
I like your
No, that's
insights.
okay.
And
You're welcome anytime you can make it.
Thank you.
yeah, and then if you have to do shopping, just do it a little earlier so you
I
can make
couldn't
it.
get out of bed. I tried like many times this morning.
Yeah, I'm glad you came late.
And I
That
had to
you
go
arrived
because
here at all.
we're having a cold crunch. And it's supposed to be getting
Oh,
colder. Yeah.
Yeah.
The shelves are already bare. I cleared off the
it's
shelves of
cold here
several
too.
things.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I was taking the last one over and over.
Wow.
You guys wouldn't consider our temperatures cold, but we do.
No, it's cold.
It's in the 30s, and
it's
that's
getting
too cold for
colder.
me.
Yeah, it was
Fahrenheit.
when the stream started, it was just 19 degrees here Fahrenheit. And it's going to get even colder. But so far the forecast here for eastern Iowa, there's no precipitation. It's just temperatures
So
are going to
no
drop.
snow
No snow
this time.
so far. Yeah, it really hasn't snowed much at all here. So we didn't have a white Christmas. We had a brown, grungy one.
Yeah. Well, that's the case in South Texas. We don't ever
Yeah.
have any snow. Like we do have a little. I haven't. It's been since 2017 that I've seen snow in Corpus Christi. So
Yeah.
Well, in central Texas here, it doesn't snow very often. But when it does snow, they turn off the power. So I just wanted to make sure we had all our
oh my
groceries in
God,
place.
they just turn off the power. That's rude.
That's what they did during the snowpocalypse. And the
Oh,
big
that's right.
snow the year after that. No, I actually went out and saw it with my own eyes. I drove around, which is very strange when you're driving in, true dark where there's no lights. But then you get to the place where all the lights are still on and you go, okay, just us. Just
Huh.
my little part of town.
I want to make sure to say hello to DJ Knight. He says, "Hi guys."
Who is
DJ
not
Knight.
related to DJ Play Nice.
Yeah, that's right. He's not related to DJ Play Nice or DJ Ronnie G. James Caserta says, "My sister will be the first person to tell you my stories suck."
I don't know if your sister is the person you maybe should go to for critical review. Just saying.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
that's right.
that can be yeah, that sibling rivalry thing.
Yes, there's something about siblings.
And even if she is a science fiction fan, you probably should find a friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Need somebody more impartial. Max.
Max Redstone is here. Hi there. Just here to drop a like. Hope everyone has a great day. Oh, thank you so much for liking the stream.
You have a great day
Max
too.
Redstone.
Yeah. Have a great day, Max.
I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday.
A terrific Tuesday. Yay.
Terrific. All right. No, Whenever I go to Whataburger, they always do that. They do the alliteration. I hope you're having a
Oh,
wonderful Wednesday.
yes. I did that when I was working. I did that. I actually had negative uh, things to say about each day of the week, and one of the administrators suggests. Well, no, it wasn't an administrator. It was a medical assistant in cardiology that said, "No, no, it's not monotonous Monday. It's marvelous Monday." And I just went, "Okay, so marvelous Monday, terrific Tuesday, wonderful Wednesday, thrilling Thursday, and fabulous Friday."
And that's it. James
And
Caserta says
yeah,
iconoclastic. What?
iconoclastic.
Iconoclastic. I guess that's I don't know what that is.
DJ said, "Hi, Tiger." And oh,
Characterized by an
hi,
attack.
Tiger and Jillian.
Yay.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Iconoclastic is characterized by attack on cherished beliefs or institutions. All right. Mystery toy at the bottom of the cereal box, searching for it first.
Absolutely. Yeah, you
Yep.
just go get all those bowls and you pour the cereal out, and then you have to do it when your mom cannot catch you, because she
I
will lose her she is it.
I
So,
the Tiger Stripes, I would just, without nobody watching me, I would
stick your hand up into
stick
the
my hand
elbow.
in there and
That's
go
so
to the
wrong.
bottom, and
That's really wrong.
yeah. Well, my hand was clean.
Oh, so you say, but you were 9.
But yeah, I got
The toys were better back then too.
oh,
I
they
gotta
were
say,
great in the
there's nothing
60s.
like them anymore
Yeah.
in
That's
cereal.
what in
Nothing like them.
that one, I don't know which episode of Seinfeld it was, but Elaine says, "Oh, men are so childish," and Jerry's kind of poo-pooing that, and then he has a cereal box and he pulls out the price. He goes, "Oh, look, a dinosaur!"
I love that.
And
Yes,
it's like,
yes,
"Yep, that's me."
well, and also that's the 90s. That's when I was a kid, and I think my generation was the last to get toys at the bottom of cereal boxes before they just said, scan this code or collect the cat
Yeah.
tops and turn
Yeah.
it in for the thing.
I'm old enough to remember prizes in Cracker Jacks that were hard plastic, and some of them were even metal.
I
Ooh.
bought us Botan rice candy for our stockings this year, and these days they just have stickers. But in the
Yeah.
past, they would have the most cunningly made
they just
little
have
pins,
stickers.
little
Yeah.
metal pins
Metal
that
pins
were
and
really painful if you stuck yourself with them,
oh yeah,
but beautifully made.
yeah.
Yeah, I had cheap little plastic stuff, but I never got any metal thing from a Cracker Jack
One of
box.
my
But today
favorite,
it's just a stupid sticker.
yeah, one of my favorite little plastic Cracker Jack prizes was this little turtle that you put together, and his shell was put together, two different halves of plastic, and it was
And
this
then its
hard
little
little.
head bobbled.
Then his little head bobble,
Its
and
tiny little head bobbled.
his
Beautiful.
body would go back and forth.
Yeah,
It had a
beautifully
little
made.
pivot point. It was
Yeah.
really nice, and I got my first compass was from a Cracker Jacks box, and that was
Nice.
metal and plastic, and all kinds of cool things.
DJ Knight says Jill could do a backflip into the pool. No, you know what? I have never done that. So, or
Sounds
somersault.
dangerous.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does. It's very
Sounds
slippery.
dangerous.
yeah.
Very
When my
slippery in there.
when my sister
Oh.
when my sisters oh, so could Tiger. Is that true, Tiger?
No, absolutely not. I can't even do a forward dive into a pool.
Yeah, I when my sister's kids were, like 4, 5, and 6 in that area, I was over there doing the Uncle Stone Racket thing, and my sister says, she goes, can you do a somersault?" And I'm like, "Boy, I haven't done that since grade school." And it was so awkward as an adult to do a somersault, but I did it. And
Oh,
I could do a
nice.
backwards somersault as well. But boy, it was just really weird doing that all grown up because I was
Mhm.
I was well
You had the
into
memory of it,
I
though.
was I was well into my I was well into my 40s when I was it was like I
I
haven't done
certainly
this
never
for
attempted a backward somersault.
yeah, they
That's
made us
Me
do
impressive.
that in
neither.
gym class in grade school. You had to go forwards and backwards, and I cheated a little bit because
Wow.
I would roll mostly on one shoulder when I went backwards, and I still did it all those years later. I still did the kind of concentrate on one
Patented
side.
Jim Kirk shoulder roll.
Yeah, the old shoulder roll. In fact, I tell you, I learned to fall watching Captain Kirk because on the blacktop and also where there was gravel on the playground when I was in grade school, if you rolled, if you fell, whenever you fell, especially on the blacktop, it would hurt less. So it's kind of a, I guess it's kind of a judo kind of thing. But
Yeah, you keep moving, you're not going to
hmm
scrape your skin off.
yeah, oh my goodness, yes. But yeah, that's the old Captain Kirk roll, and that's why I love that sequence in Galaxy
Galaxy
Quest.
Quest. I knew it.
Is that helping? You know, it's like
You lost your gun. You lost your seat.
that's yeah, and he lost his shirt. Of course, it was because of Mr. Rock Monster, but
Yeah.
that like I mentioned on a previous Star Trek stream, that just bugged my younger sister when we were watching Star Trek in syndication. Kirk would get his shirt torn, and
Absolutely perfectly, too. Just in the
and
right
and
spot.
yeah, and it was like my sister goes, "Oh, his uniform got torn again." And
I
there's
have
one,
no
what's
complaint. Nice
yeah, what's
pecs. That guy's
yeah,
got some
what's
nice pecs.
uh
Nimoy, too.
yeah, ladies, what's the
Yeah.
episode where McCoy simply tears Captain Kirk's shoulder part of his uniform to give him a hypo? There's one episode where he just
I don't
tears
think
his
it's a
uniform.
tear. I think the understanding is that's where the closure is. It's like Velcro, which back then was sort of a really new thing.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I know the zipper is there kind of on the shoulder. It goes up to the neck. But yeah, maybe Velcro. I'll have to I haven't seen that particular episode in a long time, so yeah.
But I think you're right. I think there may be more than one where he does that.
Mhm.
And there might be one where he just tears it. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Naked Time.
The Naked Time. Oh, The Naked Time. Yeah. Yeah. He's on the bridge, and it's like, yeah. I love the ending to that. I'm not fond of the episode, but I love the ending because they go
What?
back in
I
time.
love the whole episode. I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
I,
You're not a big fan of Sulu
no. I
prancing
remember
around.
I remember cringing as a
Oh, no,
child.
love it.
I remember cringing as a child when Riley is, singing away in the engineering. I
Love
just,
that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
oh, I
I'll
hated that.
take you home,
Yeah,
Kathleen.
Kathleen. Yeah, I said Eileen, Kathleen. Yeah, and then of course the only
That's a
thing
real
I
song,
like.
too.
Oh yeah, the only line I like is "No ice cream for you,"
Well, but
something like
it
that.
also
Where he
it
says there's no
has
ice
my
cream.
my
Yeah.
second favorite of her quote where
Oh.
Sulu says, I'll protect you, fair maiden," and she
Oh
says,
Sorry,
right.
neither.
Yeah.
That's the
Sorry,
best.
neither. Yeah.
They say she thought of that herself.
Yeah. And I
"That's
like the
awesome."
fact. Let's just talk positive about it, real brief. But I like the fact that Leonard Nimoy got the director to make that camera move when he isolates himself in the briefing room, because that was Leonard Nimoy's idea to have the camera go 180 around him, and they
Hmm.
they did it. It was the last
It did look.
it was the last shot of the evening. They go, we got to get now, or we don't get it at all, and they got it in that take.
That's not that fact is not in my review of the Naked Time. We have to go back and fix it.
Well, that's why we have to do it again, where I get
Yep.
to participate from the beginning.
Right?
Unfortunately, yeah, I wish I had retired a couple years earlier so I could have been on all of your Star Trek live streams or most
That
of
would have
them.
been cool.
That's a nice
So let's see.
observation.
I need to make sure to say hello to Canadian Spider-Man
Canadian
today.
Spider-Man.
Canadian
It's warm.
Spider-Man.
It's
Yeah, the
warming
hero
up to around freezing.
we need, but don't deserve because we're plebes. No, I'm sorry. That's
Said something like that about Spidey before, is that we don't deserve him, but I'm
yeah. I
glad
said
he's
that
here.
before, but that's just me. I'm the plebe, not you guys.
I'm grateful. There's a Spider-Man in Canada.
Yeah,
It's warming up
he's
to
he's
around
a
freezing today,
he's a cool
30s.
dude.
Yes.
I've only been on one of his uh what do you call those streams where he's campfire streams. I've only been
A
on one.
bonfire streams, yeah.
Bonfire, yeah, bonfire streams. I've only been on one, and I quoted from Get a Life, Chris Elliott, where he says to his father, "Dad, I'm scared and I don't know what I'm doing." And I put that in a chat. I said, "This is my first time at bonfire stream, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and I'm scared." And Canadian Spider-Man kind of treated it as though I was serious. He just
I would
calmly
too, because I
explained,
wouldn't have known what that
You have
was.
"Yeah,
to quote your source
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah." Well, I put a winky face and a laughing cat with it, but and people, a lot of people don't even see those. But he was very, he just calmly explained what his streams were all about and stuff. I thought it was really sweet.
Nice. I want to say hello to Tony from Stark of Iron, who says, "Morning, Joe. Good morning." He had quite a party last night, and he's here to say good morning.
Yeah, I was up, I was up on Discord until after 2:30 in the morning talking with Matt G. And
Oh wow, you had a party too.
and that's when I saw your post uh, because I was still awake. It was 2:36, and you sent me a message on our timeline reminding me that we're going in broadcast order and what the episodes were, and I just went, "Oh," said to Matt, "Oh, Jill just sent me a message." I was like, "Jill's still up at 2:30 in the morning."
That's about when I was going to bed. I had left
Yeah.
Tony's stream. I went on for a little bit.
Oh wow. Yeah, I went to bed shortly after that too.
The James Caserta says the monkeys were iconoclastic. Oh, okay,
Hey,
thank
hey,
you.
we're the monkeys.
Hey, you're
People
teaching
say
me
we
some
monkey
words.
around. We're
Hmm.
too busy singing to bring anybody down. Now, wait a minute. How's that iconoclastic? They don't want to bring people
I
down.
Yeah, it seems something positive to me. The
Yeah.
whole scene was Nimoy's idea. Oh, the one
Well,
the
the way it was
yeah.
directed, and also the fact that he said, "Well, I would isolate myself," and so that's definitely Nimoy just brilliant. He
uh,
knew his character and how to do things and how not to do things, and
yeah. Well,
like,
since this is the Twilight Zone stream, I don't
yeah,
want
let's
too much of a thing
Yes.
of
definitely.
but if you listen to the last 25 minutes, that was a sample of what a shore leave stream is kind of like, where we just have an open topic forum where we just relax and talk about stuff, which we had time to do since
Yeah,
the episodes are so short.
we will talk about Rod Serling from now on. No,
No, it's okay. Actually, um, I want to cut it here, and we'll pick it up next time. I want to
Sounds good.
I want to thank the panel and the chat for hanging out. Is there anything you want to share or promote, either of you, Tiger Stripes or Stone Racket? Let's start with Tiger Stripes.
No. See you next week.
See you next week. I like that.
and I just want to thank you again, Jill, for having these live streams where we can talk about the things we love, and looking forward to the next Twilight Zone discussion. And I hope Tiger Stripes that you can make that one. And
Yeah, me too.
yeah, it's going to be Walking Distance, a Sublime episode, and Escape Clause. In my opinion, not so sublime, but
Oh, is it
yeah,
not? I haven't seen it in a while, but I guess
yeah.
I'll find out.
I mean, David Wayne is cool, but of course, David Wayne for me will always be the Mad Hatter. It's on Batman.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
And so, well, and also thank you to the chat. I appreciate the insights of the panel and the chat. And thank you,
Definitely.
Canadian Spider-Man, James Caserta, DJ Knight, Stark of Iron, Tony. Let's see, who else was here today? I know I saw Matt G at one point as Swift.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, he's
Fleet Admiral Levi.
Oh yeah,
Fleet
Admiral
Admiral
Levi.
Levi, Max
Yeah.
Redstone. That's
Gavin Blackburn.
Yep, Gavin
Christian Fandom
Blackburn.
Geek who showed up. Gavin Blackburn, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Greek Letters Larson or Dionysus Larson, whichever way you like to. The Court of Public Opinion, welcome to the channel today.
Uh-oh. Let's not
Yeah.
have Harvey Weinstein.
Oh no, yeah. He had some interesting things to say.
Yes.
Watcher
Six was
X
here with a super
appreciated
sticker.
you too. Oh, that's right. Thank you so much
Impressive.
for the gift, Six. Six, you're incredible.
Yeah,
And
she's awesome.
DJ
Watcher
Knight
X
says,
and Ron from England.
right, Ron was from England. You remembered that. Or you scrolled all the way up.
I'm scrolling
DJ.
I'm cheating. No, I'm not remembering
No,
things. No,
but I was like,
I
how
don't
did
think
you
I was
remember that?
here.
You weren't even here yet. But DJ Knight says, this is so much fun. We love you guys. Aw, that's
And
very sweet.
Suzanne.
And Suzanne, yes. Definitely.
Suzanne, yeah, I can't forget Suzanne.
No. All kinds of wonderful people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and our only chatter from the Rumble side, Stokon.
Yes.
Said it was good listening.
Stokon makes me think of a Kathleen Madigan gag where she says she went into a bar with her brother and they sat down at the bar, and it's the kind of bar where there's rifles behind the bar on the wall, and she kind of nods at to her brother at the rifles, and a guy sits down next to her and says, "You don't like him, do you? Well, don't you like your Second Amendment?" And she looks at her brother, and her brother's like, "Please, Kathleen, no." And she says, "I'll tell you what, buddy, I'll buy you any drink you want if you can name me any other amendment."
I mean,
the 19th Amendment. I get to vote.
Yay!
Yeah, and then there's that line of dialogue from the Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean where Ned Beatty is narrating, his character's the narrator, and he goes, "And then the women got the right to vote, and the country went to hell."
Yep.
Oh, no.
That's what happened, all right. We ruined everything.
Yeah, it was all our fault.
all
I'm
our
so
fault.
sorry.
Yeah.
You darn women! I tell you, no, it's just out completely outrageous. All this ridiculous stuff is like, yeah, women can't do this, and we don't want women to do that, and we, it's like the women. Well, anyway, thank God for women. That's all I gotta say. Thank God.
Yeah. So tomorrow I'll have my membership stream at 11 a.m. Central. Anybody who wants to hang out and just goof around or learn something or teach me something, let's do that tomorrow.
I like getting real goofy on the member streams.
There we go.
Yeah, like horrifying both Scotty and Max Redstone when I wished Max Redstone happy birthday in a rather feminine, breathy voice while I
that's right.
While I had my Veronica Lake avatar. Just it's like, you never know what's going to happen with this nutty stone racket guy.
Mm-hmm. And then on Friday we're going to talk about WKRP. Anybody who knows about that show, send me a Twitter message and you can hang out.
Oh yeah, I'm in on that. I love WKRP.
All right. Nice.
My father. Well, maybe I'll save that for Friday.
Yeah, save it for Friday. Save it for Friday. It's a birthday party.
Save it for Friday.
Yeah, save it. Save it for Friday.
Fabulous Friday. I think we'll close out now.
Alrighty. Thanks again.
I'm always
Thank you, Jill.
Welcome. I'm always grateful we had Rod Serling while The first episode was very optimistic. The second one is a little shakier. It was a little
It's
more questionable.
it's creepy, man. Creepy.
It's creepy, yeah. But for both in both instances, they were both shows that carry with you, that will carry me throughout the day, the week. It makes me question my own motives for life, and these are the kind of stories that I enjoy the best. These, that's why I really love the Twilight Zone. I'm so glad to be able to talk about it with you. Thanks again, everyone, for being so insightful on the panel, in the chat. And also, hello to people on the rerun. If anybody's listening to this later, I know that happens. So thank you also.
Yeah, keep
This
those
show
residual payments going on the reruns. No, sorry.
this show would be lesser without you, so I hope to see you again in the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
Learn all that is learnable. And the ways our differences combine to create meaning and beauty.
It has always been easier to destroy than to create.
May we together become greater than the sum of both of us.
Well, now you have something new to think about. Carry on.
Don't be mean. We don't have to be mean. Because, remember, no matter where you go, there you are.